What? Oh, you said you're dead?
You're dead.
Hazel.
Just licking.
No, she's gagging. No, she's not licking.
She's not throwing up.
She wasn't licking. She was
It was like a
gagging.
hiccup.
Well, okay. Well, it sounded like gagging. I've never heard Hazel do that.
Still doing it.
What?
Maybe.
No. However, a minute.
Can't stay out for more than 10-15 minutes. Come over here.
Nobody else is going out right now.
There's so much people coming in. Why?
Oh, you know, I ever thought I could just connect the computer to the fucking thing.
God damn it, they're one shot. Only not shotgun, they fucking take 2 seconds to shoot a damn shot.
That's weird. It says it's connected to two fucking devices at the same time. I guess we're gonna find out. Oh, and it also tells me the battery level of the fucking. That's weird. Now, figure out how to fucking play it.
The Johnson Wax Program. The makers of Johnson's Wax for home and industry present the Fibber McGee and Molly program, written by Don Quinn.
I don't care why they keep giving out sniper ammo. Munitions so much.
Can you come back to this subject?
This is not the right address. We're headed over to the neighbor's house now.
Seconds. Oh, they're like, ooh. The Johnson Wax Program with Fibber McGee and Molly. Seconds. Oh, they're like, ooh. The Johnson Wax Program with Fibber McGee and Molly. Johnson's Wax.
I don't get it. Fucking cunts.
The Johnston Wax Program. The makers of Johnson's Wax for home and industry present the Fibber McGee and Molly program, written by Don Quinn and Phil Leslie. And we welcome our special guest for tonight, an old friend and former Wisconsin president, Harold Terry, the Great Gildersleeve. Music is by the Kingsmen and Billy Mills Orchestra. Every now and then, I feel I should sit down and talk this wax business over with you men. I'm afraid some of you might be feeling neglected, and perhaps you don't realize there are some very interesting uses for Johnson's wax that would be helpful directly to you. Take your fishing and hunting gear, for instance. Last week, one man wrote, "I've tried your wax on my fly rod and casting rod before I put them away for the winter. It's wonderful." Another one said, "Why don't you tell people to wax their guns? Wax protects both the metal and the wood. And it's dry and it doesn't get messy." All right, there are two uses for Johnson's wax right up your alley, Mr. Sportsman. And don't forget to wax your golf clubs. Also, if you're a handyman around the house, just try a little Johnson's wax on your tools, saws, hammers, lathes, all of them. You'll find the wax protects the metal against corrosion, makes the tools last longer, and your work easier. Those are just a few of the extra uses for Johnson's wax that are especially interesting to a man. If the Wistful Vista Gazette bothered to print the item at all, it would probably read, "Throckmorton C. Gildersleeve, formerly of this city, and his nephew Leroy, spent several hours between trains visiting at the home of friends today." For the two gentlemen in question are at this moment approaching the home of Fibber McGee and Molly.
By George, Leroy, it's going to be mighty good to see him again. My little chum, Fibber McGee.
I'm going to be glad to see him, too, Unc.
Why, you don't even know him.
Well, I'll have to set this suitcase down and shake hands with him, won't I? If I can shake hands with anybody, my right hand is numb.
Well, for goodness sakes, my boy, why didn't you tell me that suitcase was getting heavy? Here, try carrying it in the other hand for a while.
I did. I've been changing hands like it was a red-hot nickel. You want to carry it for a while, Unc?
I'd be glad to, Leroy, more than glad to. But I have to have both hands free in case McGee is standing on his front porch, and I have to wave to him.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. It's going to be great to sit down for a couple of hours and reminisce with old friends.
It's going to be great to just sit down, period.
What a character that McGee is. To know him is to love him. And so few people know him. Come on, Leroy. This is the house. I can't wait till I see my little chum. Well, hello there, McGee. How... may I ask who you are?
I'm Beulah, sir. Yes, sir. I'm Beulah, general factotum for Mr. and Mrs. McGee. In fact, I told him to be breakfast, lunch, and dinner every Tuesday. Yes, I'm the laundress, the maid, the cook, and general utility woman.
I think you mean utility, Beulah. Utility means it's hopeless.
I know what I mean, boy.
Well, look, Beulah, my nephew and I are... Oh, what was that?
Just me, Unc. I just set the suitcase down.
Oh,
Brother, my hands. What do you do to increase your circulation?
use more cartoons, run a serial story, and crusade against something. Oh, my old newspaper training. Now, what was I saying before? Oh, yes. I'm Mr. Gildersleeve from Summerfield, Beulah. This is my nephew, Leroy.
It gives me great pleasure to meet you, sir. And you too, Miss Leroy. Please come in.
Thank you. You know, I'm an old friend of the McGee's, Beulah. Will you tell Mr. McGee that I would like to see him?
No, sir.
What?
He ain't here, sir. Him and Miss McGee swam out of here first thing this morning. I don't know when they're coming back.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, we'll stick around. Hope they'll get back before we have to catch our train. We'll just make ourselves at home for a while.
Yeah, you do that, sir. I hear a great deal about you, Mr. Gildersleeve.
From Mr. McGee, Beulah?
No, sir, from a friend of mine, Bertie Lee Coggins.
Oh, Bertie Lee Coggins, my cook. Well, what does she say about me, Beulah?
Well, she say, well, you two gentlemen just relax while I go brew you a cup of tea.
Thank you very much.
Make my roof there, will you, Beulah? I'm trying to conquer my craving for tea.
She's trying to conquer his friend. Oh, love that boy. Well, you gentlemen just relax. I'll be right back.
Oh, dear. Good old 79 Wistful Vista. Place looks just the same as when I was here last. I wonder where McGee keeps his cigars.
I thought you didn't like his kind of cigar.
Oh, Leroy,
You told me he smoked cigars that tasted like a hot overshoe and smelled like a pile of burning feathers.
Yes, I know I did, Leroy, but after all, man's taste in cigars is a personal thing, and what are you doing?
Look, Unc, our crystal radio set. Is he kidding?
No, he just gives up hard, that's all. McGee would have been a rich man today if he hadn't been so stubborn, Leroy. He kept 10,000 shares of stock in a buggy whip company. Yeah. Yes, sir. He kept 10,000 shares of stock in a buggy whip company, Leroy. When he could have sold it and bought in with Henry Ford. I was more intelligent. I sold mine.
Did you buy in with Henry Ford?
Well, no, I didn't. My, isn't McGee going to be disappointed if he doesn't get back before I leave?
What did you buy when you sold your buggy whip stock, huh?
Well, I made other investments. How I'd like to see Molly McGee again. Yeah, there's a grand woman, Leroy. Sometime...
Did you buy U.S. Steel?
No, I didn't. Remind me to tell you sometime, Leroy, just what a magnificent woman Molly McGee is. Why, one time...
Railroad stuff?
No.
Oh, gee, Unc, what did you buy? You better tell me. I'm young and my character is just forming.
I bought 1,000 shares of International high-wheeled bicycles, and I don't want to discuss it any further. Oh, hello, Beulah. Oh, thank you very much.
That's all right, Mr. Gildersleeve. Here's your root beer, Miss Leroy.
Thank you.
Now, don't let it disturb you, Beulah. You just do whatever you were doing, and we'll sit here and wait for Mr. and Mrs. McGee.
Yes, sir. I'll be upstairs changing the dish. You want something, you just follow me.
Let me see now. I drink to you. Let me see now. I drink to you.
Leroy, what's the matter with you holding your root beer up like that and muttering?
I was practicing a toast to Mr. McGee, Unc. You want to hear it?
Frankly, no.
Oh, it's a darn, Unc. Very sophisticated. Listen, it goes, I drink to your health when we're together. I drink it when I'm alone. I've drunk to your health so doggone much I've darn near ruined my own.
I'm afraid you're getting in with a flashy crowd at TV's drugstore, Leroy. Next thing I know, you'll be drinking Coca-Cola out of some girl's slipper. And knowing that crowd of hopscotch players you go around with, I'd seriously consider the sanitary aspect.
What was that again, Unc?
Never mind. I'll never be able to say it again. I guess I'm a little nervous. Sit down now, and we'll relax when McGee gets home, if I can.
I think I'll just look around a little bit, Unc. You said he had a kind of a workshop down in the basement. Can I take a look?
Workshop? Why not? I don't think McGee would mind. Just be sure you... Leroy! Not that door! That's the whole...
Is that the one you were telling me about, Unc?
Yeah, that's the one, my boy.
Billy Mills and the orchestra play Take It Easy.
Oh, yes, I have often, Leroy. Every time McGee would open this closet, I'd see it. Now, put it back the best way you can.
What do you mean, put it back? You can't get all this stuff into that little closet.
It came out of there, didn't it?
Did you ever try to squirt the juice back into a grapefruit? Oh, look, Unc. What's this black box?
Well, split my tail and call me P-38.
What?
That's a Brownie camera I loaned to Fibber McGee years and years ago.
It must have been years ago if you believed in brownies.
You pal around with McGee long enough, Leroy, and you get so you believe in brownies, gremlins, pixies, elves, gnomes, and the synthetic rubber program. You know what I loaned him this camera for?
Sure, it was so corny looking you wanted to get rid of it.
No. I loaned McGee this camera to take pictures of the president one time when he came through Wistful Vista.
Gee, Roosevelt?
No, Coolidge. But you wouldn't remember that. To your generation, FDR is like the RFD. It's always been there. By George, imagine keeping a man's camera this long.
What was that, a grandfather's clock?
McGee's grandfather never had a clock, Leroy. He kept time by coming out of his cave and looking at the stars. That was a doorbell. Come in. Ah, very good. Heavens, what goes on here? Well, Sigmund Wellington, how are you, Sid?
Why, Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve, as I live and breathe, with some difficulty owing to a touch of asthma. Nice to see you again, old man.
Well, nice to see you, Sig. Are you still operating that fire trap you call a movie theater?
My dear fellow, I would have you know that the Bijou Theater is rated A1 by the Associated Peanut Planters of America.
Well, what have the Associated Peanut Planters got to do with it?
We feature their products in the lobby display.
Oh?
This week we are showing Madame Curie with a large sign which says, Garson likes pigeons, pigeons like peanuts, wouldn't you? It's been very effective. Hasn't sold any peanuts, but people stick their chewing gum on the sign which saves the thief. Throckmorton, old man, who is the young fellow?
Oh, excuse me, Sig. This is my nephew, Leroy, from Summerfield. Leroy, Mr. Wellington.
Hello, son.
Hi, Mr. Wellington. You from the same family tree as the Duke of Wellington?
I don't think so, my boy. In this case, the tree grows in Brooklyn.
Still the same old Throckmorton, aren't you, old man? Nice to see you again and hear the old jokes some more. And speaking of old jokes, where is McGee?
Well, he isn't here, Duke. Mr. Wellington. He and Mrs. McGee went out somewhere.
We're hoping he'd get back before we leave, Sig. Can we give him a message for you?
If you would be so good as to. Please tell him that if he does not tell us exactly where in the lobby he left the unsmoked portion of a cigar last Saturday night, we shall be forced to close the theater. The patrons have been complaining.
And we have had several nasty notes from the health department. Men, every word of it. Good day.
What a character.
Yes, he's really a splendid fellow, though, Leroy. Let's get busy and put this stuff back in the closet.
Hey, Unc, look. A Hawaiian steel guitar made out of wood.
That's a mandolin, my boy. A very popular instrument when I was a young man. Let me see it.
You mean you can play that thing, Unc?
My boy, I hope the day is far distant when you go to heaven. But when you do, you'll never hear a harp strummed with the grace and delicacy with which I pluck tender, throbbing chords from the heart of this lovely instrument.
Oh, brother.
Don't be skeptical, young man. Now listen to this.
That's what she
Oh, the
said,
moon shines tonight on pretty red wings. The breeze is sighing, the night birds.
Well, I'll be hello there, Throckmorton. How are you?
Harlow Wilcox. By George, you're a sight for sore eyes, my boy. I'd like to have you meet my nephew from Summerfield, Leroy. Mr. Wilcox.
Hello, Leroy.
Gee, are you the Harlow Wilcox we hear on the radio that tells about Johnson's wax?
Yeah, he's the one, Leroy. Not only on the radio. By trying to keep Johnson's wax out of his ordinary conversations, like holding back a tornado with a palm leaf fan.
Well, that's my job, Throcky. Gee whiz, when I'm hired to tell people how Johnson's wax on floors, furniture, and woodwork seals the surface against dust and dampness, aside from beautifying it, well, I do it, that's all. What would you do if announcing were your profession?
Well, in my case, it wouldn't be a profession. It would be a craft.
I don't get it.
He don't get it.
Well, just the same, Throcky, I'm mighty proud of being with Johnson.
Oh, you got it too, huh?
Johnson's is a quality product, I'll have you know. And whenever you say Johnson's wax, you know it's the best that money can... Hey, where's Fibber?
Oh, he and Molly went out, Harlow. Leroy and I hope they'll be back before we have to leave. Anything we can do for you?
No, thanks, Throcky. How are things in Winter Swamp?
It isn't winter swamp, Mr. Wilcox. It's summer field.
Oh, yes.
Just wonderful, Harlow. I'm quite a big figure in politics there, you know.
You're quite a big figure out of politics, too, pal.
He's got a burning ambition to be the next mayor of Summerfield, Mr. Wilcox.
Well, what's so funny about that, Leroy?
I was just thinking of what the man in the barber shop said about it.
Well, some of the most misinformed people I ever knew got their educations listening to people in barbershops, Leroy. You'll never see so many public issues parted on the wrong side as you will in a barbershop.
What did the man in the barbershop say about your uncle's running for mayor, Leroy?
He said burning ambition was a nice choice of words because Unc had about as much chance as a celluloid cat chasing an asbestos Yes, sir. Hey, may I have your autograph, Mr. Wilcox? Here's a pen and paper.
Why, sure, Leroy. There you are.
Gee, thanks.
He just started an autograph collection, Harlow. Now he's got you, Lemon Abner, and Walter Snarkfeld.
Well, that's quite a start. Who's Walter Snarkfeld?
It's the man who was in the railroad station at Summerfield that I thought was George Glass and asked him for his autograph.
Well, good luck with it, Leroy. Nice to see you again, Throckmorton.
Well, nice to see you too, Harlow. My regards to those inside straight players at the Elk.
They miss you and your two-card draws, too, Pigeon. They say you used to hold more kickers than the Russian ballet. So long.
Come on, Leroy, let's get this junk put away before McGee gets home and we have to catch the train. What time did I say that train left, Leroy?
I didn't hear you say, Unc.
Well, I'll better call the station and find out. Hand me the phone.
Here.
Thanks. Hello, operator? Give me the railroad station in. For goodness sake, is that you, Myrtle?
Oh, for corn's sake.
It's quiet. How's every little thing, Myrtle? 'Tis, eh? But say, Myrtle, your wire-haired terrier. The cops charged him with breaches of the peace.
What did the pup do to the cop, Unc?
Got a piece of his breeches. What say, Myrtle? Oh, I see. You don't remember me, do you, Myrtle? This is Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve. Yeah. Well, thank you. That's nice to hear your voice, too, Myrtle. Remember the night I drove you home and I remarked how the moonlight on your red hair was... Huh? What was that? Oh, well, one of you girls has red hair because I... Oh. Oh, yes. Well, give my best to Mabel, then. Goodbye. Oh, what tricks a man's memory plays.
What time does the train go, Unc?
What train? Train to where? Oh, my train. Oh, yeah, by George, I got some interesting... I'll bet this is McGee now, Leroy.
What does he ring his own doorbell for? Is he bashful?
I never thought of that. Probably somebody else. Come in.
Hello, McGee.
Doc Campbell. Hello there, you old morgue merchant.
Why, Gildersleeve. Hello, Rocky, my boy. Welcome back to the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
You staying with the McGees?
No, my nephew and I are just here between trains, Doc. We haven't seen the McGees yet. Doc, this is my nephew, Leroy. Leroy, Dr. Gamble.
Hello, Leroy.
Hi. Are you the Dr. Gamble who took Uncle Mort's appendix out?
Oh, yeah, he's the one, Leroy, and a very neat job, too. Can't even see the scar if I keep my coat collar turned up and my trouser cuffs turned down.
Don't listen to that big hypochondriac, Leroy.
Huh?
What's a hypochondriac, Doctor?
A hypochondriac is a man who looks at the world through rose-colored capsules. It's a man who's always taking his own pulse because he likes to hold hands with himself.
Oh, well. Good old Doc. Just as cynical as ever. You haven't much hope for the human race, have you, Doc?
I think it'll be a photo finish with everybody disqualified. That's why I'm such a happy character, Throckmorton. I repair people one at a time. It's the ones who try to improve people wholesale whose corpuscles go prematurely white.
Very good.
Don't be a doctor when you grow up, Leroy.
Why not? You get extra gas ratings, don't you?
There's a silly reason for choosing a career as any I ever heard. Sit down, Leroy. Still got the same old office stock?
Oh, yes. I like it because it's so convenient. Just a stone's throw from the hospital. By the way, where's McGee?
They aren't here, and the cook doesn't know when they'll be back.
Well, I gotta dash along, Throckmorton. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, too, you old self-cushion. Why the rush? You got a serious case?
Yes, Nick DePopoulos.
Nick DePopoulos. Oh, I know Nick. What's the matter with him?
He was leaning out of a fourth-story window watching a parade. He fell out.
Oh, my gracious, Doc. Was he...
Fortunately, there was a load of hay passing under the window at the time.
Oh, well, thank goodness I was
But
afraid.
unfortunately, Nick missed it and broke his leg. So long.
Yeah, unfortunately, Nick has...
The King's Men sing You Can't Say No to a Soldier.
You can't say no to a soldier, a sailor or a handsome marine. No, you can't say no if he wants to dance. If he's gonna fight, he's got a right to romance. So keep your powder dry, baby. Be beautiful and beautiful too. If he's not your type, then it's still okay. You can always kiss him in a sisterly way. Oh, no, you can't say no. You gotta give in if you want your soldier boy to win. Listen, little lady, it's the order of the day. Issued on the highest of authority. Fellows in the service simply can't be turned away. You know that defense must get priority. So if you're patriotically inclined, just heed that call to arms and keep this thought in mind. You can't say no to a soldier, a sailor or a handsome marine. Oh, you can't say no and you can't resist. If he's gonna fight, he's got a right to be kissed. So keep your powder dry, baby. Be beautiful and beautiful too. If he's not your type, then it's still okay. You know that you can always kiss him in a sisterly way. Oh, no, you can't say no, so what are you waiting for? You know it's true that for a girl like you, he's gonna win this war.
Well, I wonder what Leroy is doing in the basement. Oh, well, he can't hurt himself. McGee never had anything sharper than a snow shovel. Well, Leroy, how's everything in the basement? Excuse me, miss. My nephew was down in the basement. When I heard you come, I thought, how do you do?
How do you do? Where are Mr. and Mrs. McGee?
Well, Beulah says they went out this morning and haven't come back yet. My nephew and I stopped in to visit him between trains, and I'm an old neighbor of Mr. McGee. My name is Gildersleeve.
Oh, yes. I've often heard him speak of you.
Ooh. Well, isn't that grand? And your name is?
Alice Downs.
Mine is Throckmorton, dear. And your last name?
Darling.
Oh, but I really want to know.
Oh, my name is Alice Darling. Darling is my last name.
Yeah, I think it is, too. Oh, you're Alice Darling. Oh, yes. A relative of McGee's, my dear?
No, I just live here, room and board. I work at the airplane plant on the swing shift.
Well, good for you. What part of the plane do you work on, Miss Darling?
I weld an alignment flange to the hydraulic booster gear for the starboard flap.
Is that so? Sounds fascinating. Starboard flaps. Well, what do they think of next? I'm a former pilot myself, you know.
Jeepers, are you really, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Well, in a modest sort of way. I had 3 hours in a Piper Cub.
Isn't that thrilling? Oh, I just love flyers. They're so, like eagles, sort of.
Oh, like eagles, yes. What an egg I laid on my first landing. Yeah, I bounced clear over the control tower. For months around the landing field, I was known as Yo-Yo Gildersleeve, the silly ace.
Oh, but didn't you just love it, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Oh, yes, I did, Miss Darling. I really did. In fact, I offered my services to Jimmy Doolittle when the war started.
And what did he say?
He said no. Oh, well, at my age, I'd probably have to fly a transport plane anyway, but I'm a pursuit man at heart.
I'll bet you are. Well, nice to meet you, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Good day, my dear. Yes. Oh, well. Oh, my goodness. Almost train time and still no McGee. Leroy! Leroy, come up here.
Call me Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, no. No, Beulah, I was calling my nephew, Leroy. We've just got about time to catch our train.
My goodness, Mr. McGee and Miss McGee, they're going to be awful perturbed that they miss it, sir. Yes, are you sure you can't reinstitute your intentions to depart at this immediate conjunction?
Beulah, I'd love to reinstitute my conjunction, but I got to get back to Summerfield. After all, I'm in politics there, you know.
Oh, yes, I could tell that, sir.
You could tell that I'm in politics?
Yes, sir. You got to laugh with a handshake, Hilda. I never heard one.
Oh, yes, Leroy. Get your hat and your suitcase. We got to go catch our train. Leave the brownie camera for McGee.
Okay, I don't want to play around with Mr. McGee's cheap equipment in the basement anymore anyway.
Cheap equipment? Leroy. McGee may wear 58-cent neckties and cut his own hair. But when he buys workshop equipment, he buys the best.
Because it could be Mila or Millie, and it's actually Millie.
So when I merely tried to cut a piece of lead pipe in two.
Yeah,
All the
because
teeth came off
there's
his...
two L's in I-A.
Gee, for me, too.
Well, come on, Leroy. You sure you don't know where we could even phone McGee's to say hello, Beulah?
No, sir, they're leaving such a rush this morning. They didn't say nothing at all. The minute they read the letter, they up and out.
Letter? What letter? Wasn't bad news, I hope.
I don't know, sir. They just dash away and holler back. Expect us when you see us, Beulah. Door slam.
Well, sounds like an emergency. You don't know who the letter was from?
No, sir, but it's right there on the hall table.
Here it is, huh? You want to read it?
Maybe I'd better read the letter. Might be something I can do. Give it here, Leroy.
Okay.
Thank you. Dear Fibber and Molly, we'll be there Tuesday for several hours between trains and hope to have a nice visit with you. Signed, Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve.
God, you can't pause it on the computer. That's great.
Leroy, I've changed my mind. Bring the brownie camera.
I wanted to hear what the hell he was saying.
By the time we get together again, we'll be in April, the month of showers. There'll probably be wet feet tramping across the linoleum floor coverings in your kitchen and front entrance. It's an awfully good time to make sure those surfaces are well protected for their own good and yours. You'll save yourself lots of work and make your linoleum last much longer if it's protected with Johnson's self-polishing glow coat. Then moisture and dirt cannot penetrate to the linoleum itself to cause damage. Wet spots are quickly wiped up with a damp cloth, and your floors continue to be beautiful and lovely. Because glow coat is self-polishing, it takes practically no work, needs no rubbing or buffing. You simply apply and let dry, and in 20 minutes you have gleaming floors that you can be proud of. It's a very good idea to protect your linoleum floors now with Johnson's self-polishing glow coat.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to tell you that Jim Jordan, otherwise known as Fibber McGee, is recovering very nicely from his attack of pneumonia. Thank you for listening to Fibber McGee and Molly tonight without Fibber McGee and Molly. And for letting Gildersleeve come back to Wistful Vista. Good night, Fibber. Good night, Molly. Good night, everybody.
Harold Perry, the great Gildersleeve, appeared on this program through the courtesy of Kraft Cheese Company.
The Johnson Wax Program with Fibber McGee and Molly. The makers of Johnson's Wax products for home and industry present Fibber McGee and Molly, written by Don Quinn, with music by the King's Men and Billy Mills Orchestra. The most familiar use of wax is, of course, for the protection of wood surfaces, your floors, furniture, and woodwork. It wasn't long before you ladies discovered 100 extra uses for Johnson's wax for other kinds of surfaces, including leather and metal. And then your husbands, being very bright and venturesome, began protecting their guns, fly rods, saws, and hand tools with that same wax. That was very wise, because Johnson's wax does protect metal surfaces against corrosion and moisture, makes them easier to use, longer lasting. Now, industry has picked up this use of Johnson's wax finishes to protect metal and other surfaces. Many vital war materials are given surface protection with wax. One company writes as follows: we have a large carpenter shop, make all our millwork. And we use Johnson's wax on all our tools, saw tables, and planer beds. We find they do much better work and are easier to operate. The wax is not messy like oil, and it's easy to apply. Well, letters like this show how Johnson's wax finishes are being used more and more for the protection of metal surfaces in industry. Well, when a guy gets out of the hospital with a wonderful topic of conversation like a snappy recovery from pneumonia, you'd think a guy would get a chance to pop off about it, wouldn't you? Like this guy here and his wife, Fibber McGee and Molly.
Look, are you going to let me tell you about this or not?
Dearie, I can hardly wait to hear it, but now first let me punch up those sofa pillows a bit. There.
Well, sir, that first morning when I woke up in the hospital, full of sulfamerzidotes, and I saw that nurse...
Now, raise up a little, dearie. Your bathrobe is slipped. Now, if you want to stay down here in the Davenport, you'll have to be careful. There you are.
And I saw the nurse standing there...
Are you sure you should be talking so much? Remember that the doctor said take it easy.
What do you mean, talking so much? I'm dying for a chance to talk. My gosh, I established a record for beating the rap with pneumonia, and nobody will ever even listen to me.
But, sweetheart, I'm listening to you. I don't want to miss a word of it.
Okay, then let me tell you. The minute Doc flanged me into that ambulance and rushed me to the hospital, and I saw there was a room and two nurses ready and waiting for me, right there I had a hunch something was wrong.
You're a shrewd little character. Nobody else would have given it a second thought.
Well, you know how I am about my health. Nothing bothers me. Get a cold and pay no attention to it. Laugh it off.
Say, how about the time you got the little thorn in your thumb and insisted on wearing your arm in a sling for 3 weeks?
Well, a thorn can be a serious thing. I knew a guy got a thorn in his finger, and 6 months later, to the very day, he got threw off a horse.
What was the connection?
I don't know, but it makes you stop and think. But as I was saying, when I woke up that first morning in the hospital, full of sulfagabardine, and saw the nurse standing there with...
Oh, hello, Alice.
Hello, Mrs. McGee. Hello, Mr. McGee. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm all right, Alice. Just got to take it easy for a while. It was a close call.
Oh, speaking of calls, were there any phone calls for me, Mrs. McGee?
One, Alice. Some young man called, told me to tell you that Charlie called.
Oh, rigor mortis.
Rigor mortis?
Yes. Yes, that's a friend of mine that he works at the airplane plant. Charlie Mortis. He's a rigger.
Well, it's just call him Charlie after this, dear. It's less clinical.
Speaking of clinical, when I woke up in the hospital that first morning, full of never mind, and I saw that nurse standing there...
Charlie is really a wonderful boy, Mrs. McGee. He and I have talked quite a lot about getting married, and we probably would, except that we don't like each other.
Oh, that's no obstacle, Alice. I knew a gal once who was a Republican committee woman, and she married a guy simply because he looked like an elephant.
McGee knows more interesting people, Alice. He even knew the man who drove the ambulance when he went to the hospital. He was in the army with him in the last war.
Had to lend him $5 before he'd even start the ambulance. But that's how Doc Gamble says my case was.
How, dearie?
Touch and go.
You know, my brother had an interesting case of pneumonia once. It settled in his lungs.
Yes. Yes, it often does.
But let me tell you about this, Alice.
All right.
Well, sir, that first morning when I woke up in the hospital...
It's time for your medicine, dearie.
Huh? Oh, okay. Excuse me a minute, Alice. I don't really need this stuff, but as long as I'm paying the doctor, I might as well get something out of it.
Open your mouth, dear. There, that's it. Taking like a little man.
Tastes awful, Mr. McGee.
Oh, not bad if you care for distilled roofing paper with a slight dash of blacksmith's apron.
Gee, I guess you were a pretty sick man there for a while, weren't you, Mr. McGee?
Pretty sick? Why, my gosh, Alice, when I woke up the first morning in that hospital...
They woke him up at 6 o'clock in the morning, Alice.
6 o'clock? What on earth for?
Well, the nurses all have to get up early, and they hate to think of all those lazy patients laying there pounding their ears all the forenoon till 7:30 or so.
Oh, McGee had a couple of wonderful nurses, didn't you, McGee?
Oh, yeah, they were swell. Well, the way they talk, it's kind of embarrassing at first.
Why, Mr. McGee?
Well, they came bustling in with a pan of water, and they say real cheerful, well, let's take our bath, shall we? My God. Scared a guy to death. I was scared at first we were both going to have to...
McGee. What was it you were going to tell Alice, dearie?
Oh, yes. This is very interesting, Alice. That first morning when I woke up in the hospital, full of sulfatrampoline, and I saw that nurse standing there...
Oh, heavenly days, McGee. It's time for your temperature.
Huh?
Hand me that thermometer, will you, Alice?
Oh, sure, here you are. What's the matter? Was there a spider on it?
Oh, she's just shaking it down. You see, it's a Fahrenheit thermometer. That means it's got to be far down so it can rise to the height of your temperature.
Oh.
See?
Jeepers, I guess you know just about everything, Mr. McGee.
Oh, I don't know. I just read a lot. I got a retentive memory for not forgetting things. But as I was saying...
Now, here, McGee, under your tongue. That's it. Excuse me for interrupting you.
That's okay. And I told you, first thing in the morning, and in the hospital, oh, there's something in the morning.
Billy Mills and the orchestra playing Speak Low.
be back from the hospital, baby. This is about the time of the afternoon they'd always come in and wash my mouth out with soap.
Wash your mouth out with soap? What on earth for?
Well, they couldn't refrain from asking me how I liked hospital food. I couldn't refrain from telling them.
You don't have to worry now, dearie. Beulah's going to fix you a lovely dinner.
Great. That gal can really wrestle the vitamins, can't she? What's she fixing?
Well, I don't know, but she was yodeling a little while ago, so I think it's Swiss steak. Are you hungry?
Oh, I'm hungrier than anybody put together. And that's a funny thing. I thought I'd never be hungry again. That first morning when I woke up in the hospital, full of sulfa-Korsakoff, and saw that nurse standing there... I sure been keeping that nurse standing there, haven't I?
You really have. Come in. Oh, hello, Mr. Wellington.
Oh, my dear Mrs. McGee, how delightful to see you again. And McGee, old man, how do you do?
Hi, Sig. Sorry I can't shake hands, but I'm still pretty weak. Got to take care of myself for a long time yet.
Well, somebody must, and it might as well be you.
Won't you sit down, Mr. Wellington?
Thank you.
All right, yeah, let's
I must ask you not to smoke.
But I say, old man, you're smoking.
Oh, I'm not inhaling.
Beg your pardon.
Can I get you a slug of tea or something, Mr. Wellington?
Thank you, no, my dear. I can only stay but a moment. I merely wish to tell McGee that having heard of his unfortunate illness, the entire membership of the Elks held a meeting and passed the hat.
Oh, now, Sig, my gosh, that was all swallow the boys, but gee whiz, they shouldn't have.
I'm afraid that's too much like accepting charity, Mr. Wellington. We simply couldn't...
Please, leave us not leap to conclusion. As I say, hearing that McGee was ill, the entire membership passed the hat. After everyone had examined it and no one would lay claim to it, we decided it must belong to McGee. Is this your hat, my friend?
Yeah, why, sure, that's my hat. But my gosh.
Well, of all here, the man is lying sick and his friends...
Ah, yes. They all asked to be remembered to him. You received our flowers, McGee?
Yes, did you get them back?
Yes, we did, thank you.
Get them back?
Yeah. We got a swell big bouquet of paper flowers that we always send to a lodge member that gets sick. When he leaves the hospital, he always returns it. Good idea.
And we figure the budget is ahead in the past 7 years, the sum of $1,120-odd. We use this sum to have a band clip twice a year, at which several members always get very sick.
That way everything comes out even, you see, Molly.
Oh, that's a lovely sentiment.
Have a pretty tough siege-lit old man.
Yes, I did, Sig. I was going to tell you, that first morning when I woke up in the hospital, full of sulfa liverwurst, and I saw that nurse standing there.
Oh, by Jove, speaking of nurses, I simply must dash along, old fellow. I must be at the Wistful Vista Nursery at 3.
Really, Mr. Wellington? Boy or girl?
Apple tree. Good day.
Well, it seems to me you might have been more sympathetic, McGee.
Oh, Sig's heart's in the right place, Molly.
You think so, dear?
Must be. Isn't in the left place where everybody else's is. Hey, hand me the phone, will you? I got to call Wilcox and thank him for sending me all those books while I was in the hospital.
Now, you tire yourself, dearie. Let me talk.
Oh, I won't talk long. Just want to say thank you. He sent me one honey of a book that I predict is going to sweep the country.
Which one was that?
Tom the Bootblack. By a fellow named Alcid.
Oh?
Good, clean story. At the end, he comes into a fortune of $500.
When was $500 considered a fortune?
Well, believe it or not, there was a time when if you had $500, you had $500. Not $11 and an internal revenue receipt. That was a long time ago.
Hello there, Molly. And how are you, Con? Valescent?
Hello, Mr. Wilcox.
How am I, Con? Oh, if that isn't the worst joke,
Says it right.
Take my advice, Junior. Steal gags if you want to. Repeat them, buy them, eavesdrop. Listen to Bob Hope. Read joke books. But don't try making up your own.
I didn't. You pulled that one on me when I had the flu.
I did?
Yes, you did, McGee. I remember. You were particularly bad about that period.
Huh?
We called you our fun-up boy of the month, remember?
Well, my gosh, I never...
Well, never mind that, pal. How do you feel?
Well, I'm still kind of rocky, Junior. That's a tricky thing I had, that type 3 stuff, and I got to watch myself for quite a while.
Yes, he was really very sick for a few days, Mr. Wilcox.
Yeah.
In fact, the man who drove the ambulance said McGee would not have been conscious when he got to the hospital if he hadn't let him work the siren all the way.
Boy, when I woke up in the first day in that hospital, full of sulfa-Sydney strokes, and I saw that nurse standing there...
I stopped in the hospital to see you, pal. But they said you were having an alcohol rub, so I went on my way.
Heavenly days, you could have gone in while he had that, Mr. Wilcox.
Who, me? After all these years of selling Johnson's self-polishing glow coat, deliberately sit there and watch all that rubbing and buffing? Oh, no.
Yes, it really would have perturbed Junior, Molly. Didn't even restore any of my original color like glow coat does. My original color when I went in there being a sort of a bird's nest gray.
Well, it did give you a little new sparkle and life theory like Johnson's glow coat.
Well, I guess it was sort of a silly comparison, Molly. I'm sorry I brought it up.
Sorry he brought it up, he says. Junior, anytime you're sorry you mentioned Johnson's glow coat, I will present in Carnegie Hall a program of original compositions for comb and tissue paper.
Well, I guess he feels all right, Molly.
Yeah, but you should have seen me the first day I woke up in that hospital, full of that sulfur herbicide, and that nurse standing there with a big...
Big what, pal?
I was expecting to be interrupted. I never got as far as the word big before. Oh, anyway, she was standing there.
Gee, I'll never forget what a close call I had when I had my appendix out.
Oh, this is much more serious than an appendix, Junior. The doctor told me...
My doctor told me it was the worst case...
See, my symptoms came on so suddenly that I never realized...
I never did either. There I was eating a simple dinner of charcoal broiled spare ribs and coleslaw and French fried onions, au gratin potatoes and sparkling burgundy, when suddenly I began to...
Me too. Took me all of a sudden.
So I said, uh-oh.
I said, oh, boy, get me a doctor.
Get a doctor, I said. I think I got appendicitis.
I think I got pneumonia.
Call an ambulance.
Get an ambulance.
Get me to a hospital right away.
Me too. Come on, Junior. You can ride with me.
Okay, but hurry up because... What am I saying? That was 5 years ago. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, pal. So long now.
My gosh, I forgot to thank him for the book. Incidentally, did I have my Spanish dictionary back in the hospital?
Yes, you did. It's on the table. What'd you want that for?
Patient across the hall from me in the hospital spoke nothing but Spanish. Nurse used to run in and ask me how to say things to him.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. First time she run in, she says, how do you say, please turn over in Spanish? So I looks it up and I tell her.
Well?
10 minutes later, she comes trotting back. And you know what she wanted me to look up?
What?
How to say, I'm sorry you fell out of bed. She was the same little nurse, you know.
Oh, hello, Doctor. I was sort of expecting you.
Hello, Molly. How are you feeling, live bait?
I'm paying you to tell me that, medicine man. Anybody think... And stop folding my eyelids back. That hurts.
Just wanted to see your eyeballs, Sonny. Pretty good this afternoon. 2 limpid pools of loveliness. One of them with what I took to be a gleam of almost human intelligence. No kidding. How do you feel?
Oh, I think he's feeling better, Doctor.
I do, Doc. And look, the bowling team of the Elks plays tomorrow night. You think I can...
No.
Okay.
Incidentally, Doctor, I want to thank you for your fast work in getting McGee to the hospital and arranging everything so smartly. It was wonderful, really.
Well, he was a pretty sick boy, my dear. You could have fried a hamburger on his forehead, and his pulse felt like cold tapioca. Treat you all right in the hospital, McGee?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. But believe me, Doc, the first morning when I woke up in that hospital, full of sulfa intermezzo, and saw that nurse...
Well, that'd be Miss Croveney, the night nurse. Very efficient girl.
Oh, she certainly was, Doctor. McGee says she could change his pillows, powder his back, give him a shot, and be back in her chair asleep before he could say, hand me a Kleenex. I didn't sleep very good because I was scared of falling out of bed. Why do they have hospital beds so high?
Easier to reach the patient. Easier to clean under. And with rooms so hard to get, it's easy to see if there are any stowaways.
Well, it certainly is nice to have him out of the hospital, Doctor.
You know, that's the second time I've heard somebody say that today. Who said it first? The hospital.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'll bet I was as good a patient as they ever had in their noisy old germ trap. I never...
Well, in the first place, Fever Blister, you were a nuisance to one and all. You kept dropping things on the floor all the time.
Oh, that was just a natural boy's curiosity, Doctor. He was merely trying to see how many times the nurses could bend over without those little white caps falling off.
Gosh, a guy's got to have a little amusement in a hospital.
Yes, I know. And you were really the life of the fourth floor. The nurse said you started twitching one night, and she asked you what was the matter. You said you'd had so many alcohol rubs your skin had the hiccups.
That was very funny, McGee.
I thought it might cheer the nurses up a little.
Oh, they loved it. You know, nurses get so they think there are just three kinds of patients: comics, Casanovas, and complainers. You're number one, the witty type. The kind that grabs the doctor's stethoscope, sticks it in his ears, and says, "Be quiet, everybody, I think I got Sinatra."
I did not. I said Crosby.
Or else you pick up your fever chart, get what you think is a humorous gleam in your eye, and say, "When it gets to 110, sell me out."
Oh, he did not say that, Doctor. He said, "Look, my temperature zigged when it should have zagged," which I thought was very amusing.
Yeah, and the nurses did, too. The nurse did, too, and she had to turn her face away for a minute, she did.
Certainly. She was trying to resist an overwhelming desire to strangle you. Well, just continue the treatment, McGee. Keep out of drafts, keep quiet, don't smoke, eat lightly.
You think he's all right now, Doctor?
Oh, he'll be all right if he takes care of himself, which is an old rubber stamp I had made in 1924.
Well, much obliged, Doc. You sure pulled me out of this one, all right. But that first morning when I woke up in that hospital full of sulfabenzoate with that nurse standing there with her...
Oh, that's probably for me. Hello. Yes, it's Dr. Gamble. Yes. Got a feverish look, has he?
Poor Dr. Gamble, never a minute's rest.
Yes. Well, loosen his shirt collar, roll up his sleeves, and tell him to start dealing. I'll be right over. So long, folks. See you later.
The King's Men sing San Fernando Valley.
I was never one to be a setter. I've been from Santa Fe to Mandalay. Wherever I am, someplace else looks better. But where I'm going now, I'm gonna stay. Gonna pack my grip on my ticket. I'm leaving today. Clear the track. I'm taking a trip. One-way trip. California way. Won't never come back. I'm gonna settle down and never more roam. And make the San Fernando Valley my home. I'll forget my sins. Way out there. I'll be making new friends. Way out there where the west begins. Way out there. Where the sunset ends. Way out there. 'Cause I've decided where yours truly should be. And it's the San Fernando Valley for me. I think that I'm safe stating she will be waiting when my lonely journey is done. And kindly old Reverend Thomas made us a promise that he'd make the two of us one. So I'm getting the train. Where to? The cow country. Over yonder. Send my mail. Where to? Care of RFD. Over yonder. Gonna settle down and never more roam. And make the San Fernando Valley my home. Gonna plant some lemon trees, plant some beans and plant some peas. No more troubles, no more cares, no more influenza. Plow the dirt, plant the seeds, shoot the birds and pull the weeds. That's what everybody calls San Fernando frenzy. I'm a-leaving right away for the land where the sun shines every day. I'm hitting the trail. Where to? Through the cow country. Over yonder. Send my mail. Where to? Care of RFD. Over yonder. Gonna settle down and never more roam. And make the San Fernando Valley, the San Fernando Valley, the San Fernando Valley my home. My home.
McGee, when I drugstore the next time, remind me to order some more talcum powder.
Okay. Use that same kind you've been putting on my back. That smells wonderful. What kind is that?
That's passion flower.
Passion flower. My gosh, get that can out of here. Order some after-shaving talcum. How would I look if somebody come in here and... Hey, here, hand me the phone.
Now, McGee, you mustn't exert yourself.
Well, it don't exert anybody to lie down on the davenport and toss a few wrong numbers around.
All right now, but you've had a hard day for an invalid, you know. 2 crossword puzzles, 3 comic books, a game of solitaire, and Vic and Save. Here now, and don't strain your voice.
Okay. Hello, operator. Give me Kramer's drugstore on the corner of 14th and... Oh, is that you, Mert?
Oh, dear.
How's every little thing, Mert? Dizzy. What say, Mert? Your brother. Just bought a 1944 convertible.
Heavenly days, I didn't know there were any 1944 automobiles.
Well, they really wanted $20 for this one, but the kid dickered him down to 1944 without the windshield wiper. What say, Mert?
Cars from 1942 to
Had quite a time.
1945.
Now, McGee, take it easy.
Well, thanks, Mert. It's quite a thing, all right. That first day when I woke up in the hospital, I was full of that sulfadizidine. And I looked up and saw that nurse standing there with that... Hello? Hello? Hello, Mert? Hello? Cut off.
Yeah. She'll probably call you right back unless I'm badly mistaken, and I'm sure I am. Don't you want to take a little nap now before dinner?
No. If I take a nap now, I won't be able to sleep tonight, and I'm planning on finishing a dream where I booked a swordfish about this long. I want to...
Yes, Beulah?
Excuse me, ma'am. But where can I locate the whereabouts of who put the rolling pin where I can't find it?
Well, the rolling pin is up on top of the cabinet, Beulah. You making a pie?
Yeah, I thought maybe Mr. McGee might be in the mood for a nice custard pie. Yes, you, Mr. McGee?
I sure am, Beulah. Not that anybody has to be in the mood for one of your pies. Everybody admires your trust, you know.
Well, thank you. Thank you, sir. The sentiment is reciprocal. It's a recipient. Everybody admires yours, too.
Beulah, are you getting along all right with everything?
Yes, ma'am. Except I hope the refrigerator gets cold again so I can chill the salad. I ex-frosted it this afternoon.
Oh, you could let that go, Beulah. Personally, I never defrost the refrigerator till it starts stamping its feet.
Just stop stamping its feet. Don't look at Love that man.
Well, I'll go out and see if you've got it turned up high enough, Beulah. Now, don't get into a draft while I'm gone, McGee.
No.
You sure had a bad cold, didn't you, Mr. McGee?
Bad cold? My gosh, Beulah, I had the pneumonia.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, sir. I was afraid you had a real bad cold.
Look, Beulah, pneumonia is a very dangerous thing to have. They had to rush me to the hospital in an ambulance.
Scared me to death riding one of them things, you know that? They skedaddles along with that old banshee howling and the gong, and when they unload you, what you got? Worse.
You had some experience, eh, Beulah?
No, sir, I've never been sick a day in my life. Only time Mom ever called a doctor for me is when I get vacated for dippox and smalltheria.
Smallpox and diphtheria.
Yes, sir. Outside that, I never even had no childhood diseases like falling off a tricycle because I never had a tricycle.
Now, wait a minute, Beulah. Let me get this straight. You never been sick a day in your life, eh?
No, sir.
Never been in a hospital?
No, sir. Only to deliver a friend of mine who was in a run-down condition from a beer truck.
You never had anything wrong with you at all? No physical ailments?
No, sir, never.
Ah, sit down, Beulah. I want to talk to you.
Yeah, sir?
Well, Sir Beulah, I'll never forget that first morning in the hospital. When I woke up full of sulfonasturtium and saw that nurse standing there with an 8-pound baby in her arms. She just stopped by on her way from the maternity ward, of course. But me with all dizzy from that sulfa and looking up at that new baby, it was one of the most frightening things I ever...
When wet April feet come tramping in across the linoleum floor in your kitchen or front entrance hall, you can say to yourself, I'm glad they're protected with Johnson's self-polishing glow coat. That's really one of the times you're especially grateful for Glow Coat because in a jiffy you can remove those wet spots with a damp cloth. You've saved yourself work, kept up the good looks of your floors, and protected the linoleum itself from harm. 3 important benefits from a polish that requires practically no work at all. There's no rubbing or buffing with Johnson's Glow Coat because it's self-polishing. And there'll be no more scrubbing of your linoleum floors. Once you begin to protect them the Glow Coat way, they will wear much longer, actually 6 to 10 times longer. Yes, April is a very good month for you to start using Johnson's self-polishing Glow Coat.
Ladies and gentlemen, for all the flowers, cards, letters, and telegrams you sent me in the hospital, I'm very grateful.
Oh, he really had the flu?
I can't express my appreciation to all of you in person, so this will have to be a blanket. Thank you. We also want to thank our old friend Gildersleeve for coming over to Wistful Vista to help us out last week. Now that I'm on my feet again...
Excuse me, McGee.
Yes?
Move over a little, will you, please?
What for?
You're on my feet again.
Huh? Oh. Good night.
Good night, all.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
The Johnson Wax Program with Fibber McGee and Molly. The makers of Johnson's Wax for home and industry present Fibber McGee and Molly, written by Don Quinn, with music by the Kingsmen and Billy Mills Orchestra. The problem of manpower and woman power is not limited to industry. With all the extra jobs you ladies have undertaken so well, Red Cross, Civilian Defense, Victory Gardens, you certainly must welcome suggestions for saving unnecessary housework. One such suggestion I've made many times on this program, that you protect your linoleum surfaces with Johnson's self-polishing Glow Coat. Glow Coat really is a great labor saver. It takes practically no work because it's so easy to apply, and it needs no rubbing or buffing. An occasional reapplication of Johnson's Glow Coat will keep your linoleum floors bright and shiny, easy to keep clean because spilled things are wiped up with a damp cloth in a jiffy. And you not only save yourself work when you use self-polishing Glow Coat, you also save your linoleum because the regular use of Glow Coat makes linoleum last 6 to 10 times longer. What would you do with a man who for years and years has been content with a cup of black coffee in the morning and who suddenly starts screaming for whipping cream in his hot chocolate? What was that? Well, that's what we do, too. And while we try to think what to do with the body, let's listen to Fibber McGee and Molly.
And in the first place, nobody knew you'd want hot chocolate, and now you get a sudden urge for whipped cream on it. Won't a marshmallow do?
No, it won't. Marshmallows are for old ladies and kids.
Well, I'm sorry. We haven't any whipped cream, but I've sent Beulah out to see if she can get some.
My gosh, you'd think I was asking somebody to run down to Peru and milk a llama. All the fuss there is about it, gee willie.
Well, anyway, I don't understand this sudden urge for whipped cream.
Well, I can't quite explain it either. But there must be some great physical reason with my system craves whipped cream like this.
Yeah?
It's a cell hunger, that's what it is. My metabolism needs whipped cream, so it communicates to my brain, and my brain tells my appetite, and I tell you, and what happens? Nothing. End of the line.
Well, now, listen, when I asked you what you wanted for breakfast this morning, you never mentioned whipped cream and cocoa. You said coffee and toast.
Well, how did I know we didn't have any whipped cream? Gee whiz, the guy...
Oh, here's Beulah. Any luck finding some whipping cream, Beulah?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am, the city appears to be empty and devoid of whipping cream of any prescription. And the next time anybody asks me if I don't know there's a war on, I'm going to go berserk. What does berserk mean?
I don't know, Beulah. But have you tried whipping cream off the top of the milk?
Mr. McGee, the cream off the top of the milk ain't cream. It's just more milk. Yes, and you can whoop it and whoop it and whoop it till it's all whooped out and all you got is milk with a lot of foam on it.
Well, you better just forget it, McGee. You're being a little unreasonable about it anyway.
I'm not being unreasonable. I've really got tenacity of purpose. Sure. Like a puff chasing a polecat through a hollow log. You hate yourself if you don't follow through, and everybody else hates you if you do.
Yeah, look at here, Chief Spooky. Not that man.
Well, you can forget about the whooping cream, Beulah. What are you doing this afternoon?
Washing the windows, man.
Oh.
Yeah, I got them all done upstairs except the little one in the powder room. Just can't seem to scrub that one clean.
Well, you never will, Beulah. That's frosted glass.
Frosted? In April?
He means it's opaque, Beulah.
It's what, man?
Opaque. O-P-A-K-E. Opaque.
O-P-A. That old OPA is in everything. Well, you excuse me, ma'am. I gotta get back to work.
All right, Beulah, go ahead.
And thanks for trying to get some whipped cream.
Oh, that's okay, sir. I just soon be doing that and something else. Yeah, so when I get paid at the end of the week, I don't ever look at the money and say, Beulah, what did you do to earn this? All I say is it all there?
You see, McGee, there's no whipping cream in town.
Well, that leaves me only one infinitive.
You mean alternative, dear?
I do not. Alternative is the club you get invited to belong to in college. Yeah, if your old man will endow a new chandelier for the dining room.
That's a fraternity.
Oh, don't kid me, baby. Fraternity means motherhood.
No, that's maternity.
Well, then what's infinitive?
Well, it's a little hard to explain, but the next time I get one, I'll split it. Now, what was it you were going to do?
I'm going out in the country and get some whipping cream. That's what I'm going to do. By George, if I'm going to be left holding the bag, I might as well be sitting on a milking stool to do it. Come on, Molly, get your hat.
I'm ready. What are we going to carry the cream in?
How about that old thermos bottle?
Just the thing. Where is it?
It's right in here. I saw it just the other day, right here in the hall. No, I didn't either. It was out in the garage. I got to straighten out this puzzle one of these days.
Billy Mills and the orchestra play Don't Sweetheart Me.
Why didn't you tell me we were going to walk 5 miles past the end of the streetcar line, McGee?
I wanted to surprise you. Isn't this wonderful? Get a load of that fresh air. Boy, that'll put years on your life.
It's taken 2 inches off my heels, too. These shoes were never built for cross-country work.
Well, I guess I'm just a farm boy at heart. Nothing I'd rather do right now than to roll around in that field of clover over there.
It'll be a little messy.
Huh?
That's the field it's made.
Oh, just speaking metaphorically. Ah, this is wonderful. Wonder if I could get a job on a farm this summer.
You say that above a whisper, you have a pitchfork in your hand in the next 7 minutes. Not that you'd know what to do with it.
What you mean, not that I'd know what to do with it? My gosh, what's so mysterious about farming? Get some good dirt, throw a handful of seeds into it, and go fishing for 4 months. Come back, pick the stuff, sell it, and lay around on your profits all winter. Pretty soft.
Say, did you ever hear of corn borers, boll weevils, cutworms, wheat rust, blight, mortgages, floods, drought, open mouth disease, lice, locusts, and the pip?
What, no bangs disease? What have they got to do with farming?
Ah, city boy, city boy. What you don't know about...
Hey, am I dreaming, or is that Sig Wellington coming down the road there?
Say, I believe it is, Mr. Wellington.
I didn't know that slum child ever got past the city limit. Must be walking in his sleep. Hi, Sig, old man.
Ah, good afternoon, my friend. Isn't it a charming day to be strolling through the countryside, filling one's nostrils with clean, fresh pollen to give one's hay fever a new start in life? But tell me, what brings you wandering out among these broad fields of succotash?
Well, himself here got a sudden urge for some whipping cream, Mr. Wellington. And you know McGee. He has a whim of iron, as the saying goes.
A streak of persistence runs in the family, Sig. My Uncle Sycamore once got a sudden yen for a fried ostrich egg. Saved up his dough for years and years and got enough to go to Australia. Learned how to throw a boomerang, captured an ostrich, and waited till it laid an egg.
And how did he like it, old man?
Couldn't eat it. Had a busted jaw from getting hit by a boomerang while practicing. Just mentioned it to indicate a streak of tenacity in the family.
Do you often go for long walks in the country, Mr. Wellington?
Not often, Mrs. McGee. I find the sunshine glaring, the birds singing off-key, the landscape badly arranged, and the flowers so highly scented as to be rather cold.
Then why come out here at all?
Ah, sentimental reasons entirely, McGee. My dear old grandmother, you know.
Ah, she loves the country, I suppose.
No, she loves mint juleps and sends me out for the mint. Well, good day to you.
Well, cynical pup, isn't he?
Say, speaking of pups, dearie, my dogs are killing me. Huh? How far into the wilds of America are we going for this whipping cream?
Oh, I don't know. I'll check with the guy sitting in the park roadster up ahead here, you see? He looks kind of intelligent. No use wasting time on farmers when you can ask a guy like that. Hi, Bud.
Hello.
You acquainted around here, Bud?
Quite well, yes. What can I do for you?
We want to buy some whipping cream.
Sit down in the car for a minute, madam. I think I can help you out. I can't leave here immediately. My name is McDonald.
Oh, hi, Mac. My name is McGee.
Hiya, Mac.
This is my wife, Molly.
How do you do, I'm sure?
How do you do?
Nice stand of barley some guys got over there, ain't it, Mac?
It's wheat, Miss McGee.
What'd I say, barley? I meant oats. Or wheat. You interested in farming, Mac?
Yes.
Well, ask me anything you want to know. Be glad to help you out.
Thank you.
For instance, crop rotation. In farming, you got to have crop rotation.
Why, McGee?
Well, because on account of the crows and the blackbirds. If they know where the corn is every year, it makes it too easy for them. You plant different things in different places every year to fool the birds. Understand, Mac?
Very interesting theory. I understand it also helps to refresh the soil. Different crops require different chemicals from the earth.
Oh, that's very true, Bud. Very true. Did you hear that, Molly? That was very true.
Say, how does the food situation look this year, Mr. McDonald? You look like you knew the market.
Well, Mrs. McGee, I think it looks pretty good. You know, in 1943, the farmers broke all food production records for the 7th straight year. They're out to do it again. They have a slogan, grow more in 44.
Hey, how do you know all this stuff, Bud? You a government man?
Oh, no, I just...
Oh, look, here comes the man on horseback.
Must have lost his way from high elevation.
Man has Excellent seat.
How can you tell when he's facing this way? I can't even.
Oh, heavenly days, Mr. Wilcox. Hello, Mr. Wilcox.
Hi, Junior. What's your hurry?
Oh, boy. Say, did you see a Johnson's wax truck go past here? Oh, baby.
No, we didn't, Mr. Wilcox.
What kind of a truck was it, Junior?
Well, it was a big panel truck, sort of an Indian red. On one side of it says Johnson's Wax, home and industry, the finest protection for floors, furniture, and woodwork. Oh, easy there, baby.
Yes.
Yes, and on the other side, it says Johnson's Wax seals wood and enamel surfaces against dust, dirt, and damp. And on the rear of the truck, it says thousands of housewives save millions of hours by using Johnson's Wax.
Oh, baby. Well, what if we meet the truck, Junior? Can we give him a message?
Oh, no, I just wanted you to see it. It's a beauty. See you later. Go on, baby.
Enthusiastic young man. Friend of yours?
Yes, he's Johnson's Wax people.
Yes, gathers that.
Anybody that's within 8 miles of Wilcox gathers that. But I will say that time he's made a pitch from horseback. Now, what are we about that?
Excuse me, McGee, but Mick's taking too much of Miss McDonald's time.
Not at all, Mrs. McGee. I'm just waiting here for your friend. We'll be along any minute.
Oh, yes, I know what it. We wanted to get some whipping cream.
May I ask what this whipped cream for, Mrs. McGee?
Well,
he wants it for a cup of cocoa.
Doctor's order?
No.
It was just a whim, Mr. McDonald.
Excuse me, here's the man I was waiting for. He's a fine fellow like that.
Hello, Andy. Hope I haven't kept you waiting.
Well, Doctor, I'd like to have you meet
Well, hello there, Molly. Hello, Droopy.
Hi, Aerosmith. What are you doing in the high hay? What, he got a 6-day?
I don't know. Have you lately?
You know these people, do you, Doctor?
Oh, very well, Henry. Mrs. McGee is one of the fine women I know.
And me?
McGee here is the husband. But how did you people get acquainted?
Also introduced ourselves, Doctor. We came out in the country looking for some fun products.
Well, you couldn't have come better man than Henry here. The best farmer in the country.
Farmer? My gracious, Mac, you're a farmer? With that Hamburg hat and that 5-cap key and the tailor-made suit?
Well, now, after all,
I think he was expecting a music comedy type of farmer, Doctor.
I have to admit, Doctor, he, Mr. McDonald, looks more like a businessman than a farmer.
A farmer has to be a businessman now, Mrs. McGee.
He here looks more like a farmer than a businessman.
Well, why not? I come from a long line of farmers. My family raised the first finest soybeans in Illinois. In fact, the greatest scenes of my boyhood are full of the greatest soys of all beanhood. You get that? Scenes of boyhood, soys of beans.
Ain't funny, McGee.
I'll sign that in triplicate.
I thought it was rather amusing myself.
Why, sure, it was amusing. Takes a smart farmer to appreciate a joke like that.
Well, Henry's a smart farmer, all right, McGee. Don't fool yourself about that. Believe me, we can be very grateful to the 6 million families like his who broke all food production records last year and are out to do it again. Every time they roll up their sleeves, they roll up a record.
My, they must be making a lot of money.
You know any wealthy farmers, Mrs. McGee?
What, no?
I can tell you something about that, Molly. See that field of beans over there?
Are those beans? McGee told me those were sugar beans.
Well, my gosh, if this
Those are beans.
Okay, beans.
Now, Henry could have made more money planting that field in corn, but he knew the government had requested an increase in bean production in this locality, so he takes a loss to back up the food program.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Oh, this is wonderful. Some people can fight, some people can buy bonds, some people can grow food. Country's at war, everybody does what he can do best. Oh, by the way, Doctor, how about the health?
Oh, yes. I got 15 to 16 businessmen lined up, Henry. They can all spend from 2 weeks to a couple of months on your farm this summer. And believe me, it'll be wonderful to get those watermelons out from under their belt. How about you, McGee?
How about me?
Lending Henry a hand this summer on his farm. Get you back in shape. As it is, you're as fit as a fiddle that's been left out in the rain.
Why, McGee, I think it'd do you good. Remember last night how winded you were when you ran upstairs to get your house slippers?
I was not winded. I was just excited. Those are new house slippers.
Oh, no. You weren't winded. Why, you pudgy little potato patty, you're about as muscular as a butterfly.
Is that so?
Yeah.
You should talk, you big bag of bird seed. If I had your lard, I'd have a donut shop on every corner in town.
Why, you overstuffed, overnourished...
Excuse me, Doctor. I've got to get back in the house. Marvin Jones is on the air very shortly from Washington. I want to hear it.
Marvin Jones. I haven't heard him since he won the Open Golf Championship.
No, Molly, that was Bobby Jones.
Oh.
This is Marvin Jones, the War Food Administrator.
Bobby's uncle.
Yeah. Well, see you later, Henry.
Okay, Doctor. Thanks for the help. Come on, Mr. McGee. We'll get you your whipping cream.
Is what?
Whipping cream, Doctor. That's what we came out here for. McGee had a craving for some whipping cream.
Oh, he did. Some whipping cream. Well...
Now, don't say it, Doc. Don't say it. Don't say anything you'll regret.
Whipping.
Now, be careful.
Full of all the deplorable, short-sighted, incredible examples of dietary...
The King's Men sing a beautiful old American ballad.
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. He played the bagpipes all day long, E-I-E-I-O. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on this farm he played some golf, E-I-E-I-O. For here, for there, here, for there, forever, what for Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. He used to put her on the green, E-I-E-I-O. Up here, up there, here, up there, for here, for there, here, for there, forever, what for
Old MacDonald had a farm,
E-I-E-I-O. And when he sliced them in the rough, E-I-E-I-O. Cuss here, cuss there, cuss there, for blank, here, up there, here, up there, for here, for there, here, for there, forever, what for
Oh wait, you know, I can't fast forward on the computer.
He drove the ball where out of bounds, E-I-E-I-O. A lost ball here, lost ball there, here, ball there, forever, high ball, cuss here, cuss there, here, cuss there, blank, here, up there, here, up there, for here, for there, here, for there, forever, what for Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on this farm he had a daughter, E-I-E-I-O. Salesman here, salesman there, salesman everywhere. Lost ball here, lost ball there, here ball there, ball everywhere. High ball, cuss here, cuss there, here cuss there, where blank, here, up there, here, up there, for here, for there, here, for there, forever, what for Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And when he saw those salesmen there, E-I-E-I-O. Boom, boom, here, and a bang, bang there, here, boom, there, bang, everywhere. Buckshot salesman here, salesman there, salesman everywhere.
Old MacDonald had a murder against his salesman and banging his daughter. How come I haven't seen that play in school?
Here, for there, here, for there, forever, what for
Did you hear that? Old MacDonald had a daughter. He was a salesman here, salesman there. And then a bang here, boom there.
Now, if you people just make yourselves at home, I'll see that somebody puts you up to whipping cream.
Well, thanks very much, Mac. We expect to pay the regular price for it, you understand. Just because we're good friends, we don't want to oppose them. My gosh, some people, just because they meet somebody and like them, would want to maybe give away some whipped cream. By George, when I get what I want, I'm always willing to pay for it. Even though I get a discount on it.
McGee.
Huh?
Let Mr. McDonald go now. He's busy and he has a radio program he wants to hear.
I'll be right back. If you excuse me a minute.
Certainly, Mr. McDonald. He's a nice man.
Yeah, and get a load of this house, will you? If this is a farmhouse, times have changed since I was a kid. I'll bet Mac don't even have to go outside the back door to wash his hands in the tin basin.
Henry, excuse me.
Well, for goodness sakes, Alice, darling.
Oh, hi, Alice. What are you doing here?
Creepers, Mr. McGee. I was going to ask you the same thing. Mr. McGee, I come out here to visit all the time.
Oh, he's a very nice man, Alice. He's selling us some whipping cream.
Well, it will be very good cream, Mrs. McGee. Uncle Henry has some of the finest pullover cows in the country.
Pullover cows? Oh, you mean jerseys?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know much about farming. Up till last week, I thought a silo was when somebody sang all by himself.
I'm kind of dumb about a farm, too, Alice. But McGee has been explaining things to me. Tell Alice about contour plowing, McGee. I think that's fascinating.
Oh, it is fascinating. You see, Alice, contour plowing is where you follow the contour of the land instead of plowing in straight lines back and forth the way they used to do.
But why do they do that, Mr. McGee?
Enemy airplanes. The pilots look out of their planes and they see all those busy patterns down there and they don't know where the heck they are. Wartime measure. We'll go back to regular plowing after the war.
Isn't that interesting, Alice? Tell her about soil analysis theory.
About what?
Soil analysis, Alice. You take a sample of the soil and analyze it, see? If it's full of worms and you've got a good trout stream on your farm, you're lucky. I'll be glad to explain all these things to your uncle anytime you want.
Oh, well, I think Uncle Henry will get along all right, Mr. McGee. We're all very proud of him. He got more crops out of his farm last year than anybody has ever been able to before.
Yeah, but if I had a chance to
And
give
he's
him
helped all of our family with their victory gardens, and this year they expect to raise even more than they did last year, which means that...
Here's your whipping cream, Mr. McGee.
Thank you so much, Mr. McDonald.
These are the people at whose house I room and board at in Wistful Vista, Uncle Henry.
Oh, yes. I remember the name, McGee. Yes. Well, now it's about time for me to listen to Judge Marvin Jones on the radio, folks, so if you'll excuse me.
Well, thank you for the cream, Mr. McDonald. Come on, McGee.
Wait a minute, Molly. I want to tell Mac a few things about farming first. Now, about feeding the livestock, Mac. If you'll mix a little tobacco in with the brand, you'll find...
Mr. McGee, Uncle Henry wants to hear Mr. Jones on the radio.
Come on, McGee.
Okay. This won't take a minute. And about planting potatoes in the light of the moon, Mac, that's just a ridiculous superstition. It's got to be in the dark of the moon. That's because...
McGee, the man wants to hear a radio program.
Yes, don't mind, McGee.
Just one more thing, Mac, about the lightning rods on the barn. Do you realize that a lightning rod made of white pine is no good whatsoever? Because to be effective...
McGee!
And if you've got a windmill on your place...
I've got one too many windmills on my place, and I want to hear Marvin Jones. Good day.
How do you like that? Of all the ungrateful. Well, that's the last whipping cream I ever buy from that guy. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now hear a message from Marvin Jones, the War Food Administrator, who speaks from the nation's capital. Take it, Judge.
Thank you, Fibber and Molly and your great audience for this courtesy. Our armies and our navies are made up of young men from every neighborhood in America. They have made a proud record in every part of the world. They know, however, that final victory depends not on what we have done so far, but upon how we meet the challenge that lies ahead. I am glad that I can report to the public tonight that the nation's farmers and their families are prepared and ready to join in the effort to make this a decisive year. From north, south, east, and west, they are marshaled for a supreme effort. Since the axe first rang in the wilderness of our country, the farmer has done his part in every national emergency. Last year, in spite of all the difficulties of machinery and labor supply, these tireless workers on the farms produced more food than this nation or any other nation ever produced before. Even though his ranks have been thinned by the loss of those who have gone to join the armed forces and those who have left the farm to go into industry, he has closed up the ranks and pressed on. He and his family worked long hours uncomplainingly. Perhaps more than in any other industry, farm women have helped make this remarkable food production possible. In addition, women from the cities and towns and boys and girls clubs have done their part. 20 million victory gardens and gardeners produced 8 million tons of fresh vegetables. The need for food this year will be even greater. The farmers' goals call for 16 million acres more than last year. I have faith that the job will be done. Next in importance to the production on our 6 million farms and in our victory gardens is the prevention of the waste of food in our hotels and restaurants and in our 30 million homes. The saving of one slice of bread per family each week means the saving of 2 million loaves of bread a week.
God damn.
People everywhere are cooperating in a fine way in preventing this waste, especially in the homes of our country. Life begins with food. It is as essential as the air we breathe. An empty mess kit means disaster on the battlefield, the same as an empty rifle. The realistic farmers know what the grim challenge has been and what it still remains. In their thousands of community meetings throughout the nation, they have weighed the facts.
Thank you, Judge Marvin Jones. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Chicago, WMAQ. Chicago, WMAQ.
The Johnson Wax Program, tonight starting its 10th year with Fibber McGee and Molly. The makers of Johnson's Wax for home and industry present Fibber McGee and Molly, written by Don Quinn, with music by the King's Men and Billy Mills Orchestra. Victory Gardens are moving into the limelight again, and already I hear my friends and neighbors planning how many rows of carrots and beans and how many tomato plants they should set out to make 1944 even a better garden year than 1943. And while I think about it, I'd like to tell you how you can make your gardening work easier this year. It's by taking better care of your tools, your rake, hoe, and spade. You've undoubtedly noticed how much more fun it is to use tools that are clean and well cared for. Then try this. Clean them thoroughly, get off the dirt and rust, and then wax them, both the metal parts and the wooden handles, with genuine Johnson's Wax. You'll find them easier to use, easier to keep clean. Always clean them off before you put them away, and at the end of the season, give them another good Johnson's Wax. They'll last longer, will be protected against corrosion. Yes, the same Johnson's paste or liquid wax that you use to protect and beautify your floors, furniture, and woodwork will prove to be a good protector of your Victory Garden tools. What would you do if you were convinced a German spy lived across the street from you? You'd keep an eye on him, wouldn't you? Well, here, keeping an eye on the man across the street, we find that eminent counter-espionage agent X-13, better known in civilian life as Mr. McGee. Now, Fibber McGee and Molly.
Look at him, the dirty Nazi. I'll bet he blows up the post office before the week is out. If he only knew that
What on earth are you doing peeking out that window? The collector for the piano won't be here for another 2 weeks.
I know that. I'm watching that guy across the street.
You mean Mr. Schmaltz?
Yeah, Frank Schmaltz. You know what that guy is? He's a Nazi spy, that's what he is. He's a dirty Sabatini.
You mean saboteur. Sabatini is a writer.
Sure, he's a writer, and in coat, if you ask me. I've had my eye on that guy ever since he refused to let me borrow his lawnmower.
Oh, dear. If everybody who refused to loan you things was a German spy, dearie, we might as well give up. We're surrounded.
Well, it wasn't just that, baby. I got this guy nailed on several counts. In the first... Oh, get away from the window. He's coming out. No, he went back in. He shut the door. You see? Would an innocent guy do stuff like that?
Oh. Look, dearie, there are 4 well-known freedoms. The 5th one is the privilege of opening and shutting your own front door whenever you want to.
Okay. Scoff if you want to. D-right. But by George, when they hang this guy by the neck until he's dead in the electric chair, you'll admit that I was... Who's that? Don't move or I'll shoot. Who is it? Who?
Oh, calm yourself, McGee. It's just Alice.
Oh, what's the matter, Mr. McGee? You seem kind of nervous.
Keep away from the window, Alice. There's a German spy across the street. That guy Schmaltz.
McGee thinks he's a spy because he wouldn't loan him his lawnmower, Alice.
Oh, but I've met Mr. Schmaltz, and I think he's very nice, Mr. McGee. I see him all the time out near the airplane plant.
Out near the airplane plant, eh? You hear that, Molly?
Well, I've walked out near the airplane plant lots of times myself without getting any nasty notes from J. Edgar Hoover.
Oh, well, I'm sure he doesn't mean any harm, Mr. McGee. All he does is walk around and take pictures.
Take pictures? Oh, is that all? Just goes out to the airplane plant to take pictures. My gosh, girls, don't that mean anything to you?
Well, it does to me. It means that all the time he's out there, you haven't once broken into his garage to borrow the lawnmower.
Well, besides, Mr. McGee, he doesn't take pictures of the airplane plant.
Huh? He doesn't?
No. He just takes pictures of us girls when we're out on the lawn during the noon hour.
You see, McGee, he's merely a middle-aged masher with a negative personality.
You sure he don't take any pictures of the plant, Alice?
Oh, never, Mr. McGee. And I don't even see how his pictures of us girls ever come out good with all those airplanes parked in the background. Gee, you'd think he'd want...
Airplanes? He lines you kids up to take pictures just for an excuse to get airplanes in the pictures. Can't you see that? What kind of cameras he got?
Well, creepers, Mr. McGee. I don't remember, but I think it's a little like
A little like a what? Come, girls. This is important. A little like a what?
Well, just a little like
Ah, women. My gosh, can't get any sense out of them. I'm telling you, this guy's a dangerous character that ought... Lie down on the floor, quick. He caught on to me. She shoots it out. Hey, lie down, Molly, lie down.
Don't be silly.
Huh?
That was a milk truck backfiring.
Oh.
But what broke the window?
McGee stuck his hand through it when the truck backfired. Are you cut, dearie?
No. Just tore my coat sleeve a little. Well, that just goes to show you got to be Jerry at the raffle on a case like this. Mind my words, Alice. Keep an eye on that small sky.
Oh, I will, Mr. McGee. I'm sure he doesn't mean any harm, though. He usually just picks out the prettiest girl there and asks me if he can take my picture. But I'll be careful.
You begin to see, Molly? He goes out to the airplane plant and takes pictures with a German camera. He's got a German accent and a German haircut.
A German haircut doesn't mean anything. You see thousands of GI haircuts these days, but they don't mean German intelligence.
Oh, it isn't just those things, kiddo. I met him coming out of the music store the other day with some sheet music under his arm. And you know who wrote it?
Who?
Berlin.
Well, if you really feel that way about it, why don't you report him to the authorities?
Hand me the phone.
Though if you're not absolutely sure.
Hand me the phone.
There's such a thing as the law of slander, you know, so...
Please, Mrs. McGee, the
Or
phone.
is it libel I'm thinking of? I never knew the difference between libel and slander, but the main thing
I'll
is...
get it myself. Hello, operator. Give me the local office of the FBI, say. Is that you, Mert?
Oh, dear.
How's every little thing, Mert? Yes, eh? What's that, Mert? Your cousin in the Navy. Chief pretty officer, eh?
It isn't pretty, McGee. It's petty.
Petty ought to see this pretty. She's away. What's say, Mert? Okay, I'll call later. The FBI is busy.
What are you going to do now?
I'm just going to keep my eye peeled until... Uh-oh, get away from the window. He's coming out. Look, he just threw a cigar butt over the porch railing. Now he's gone back in.
Well, that seemed innocent enough.
Innocent? My gosh, don't you get it? He threw a cigar into the rose bushes with his right hand while gazing up in the air. That's code. It means right to Rose in Havana. That things are looking up. Hand me that phone again, quick. Operator, quick.
Heavenly days, McGee. Are you still peeking out that window?
You bet your sweet life I am, baby. That guy across the street is a Nazi spy if I ever saw one. And I seen one. I called the chief of police and told him, too.
What'd he say?
Told me to stand by.
He did? In so many words, to stand by?
Well, not so many words, no. He told me next time I go past a book, stand by a good mystery story. Here I wrap a case up and drop it in his lap, and he laughs it off. My gosh, I don't want any glory out of this. Even any publicity. Even if they give me the Congressional Medal or something, I'd try to keep it out of the papers. I suppose the news would have to have it, though. Maybe I better have a short statement ready to give them when the time comes. Come in with your hands up. You're covered.
McGee is just Mr. Wellington. You may put your hands down, Mr. Wellington.
Then go. Are you playing G-Man Jr. or Junior G-Man?
Just keeping an eye on the guy across the street. Smalls. He's a German spy.
Really? And what is the basis of this somewhat startling conclusion?
Well, he wouldn't lend McGee his lawnmower.
Ah, conclusive evidence if I ever heard it. Undoubtedly guilty also of the Chicago fire, the Black Tom explosion, the shooting of Dan McGrew, the wreck of the old 97, and a brother-in-law of Flat Top.
Personally, I think McGee is off on the wrong foot this time, which in his case is either one. Is there anything we could do for you, Mr. Wellington?
I merely wish to inquire if this was your bicycle clip, which was left in my theater the other night, McGee.
Oh, sure. Much obliged, Sig. I wondered where I lost that sleeve garter.
Sleeve garter? Well, then you don't ride a bicycle.
Oh, not since he was a boy, Mr. Wellington. In those days, he used to ride a bicycle with Gay Abandon.
Yeah, she rode on the handlebars.
Who did?
Gay Abandon. That was Louis Abandon's little daughter that lived down the street from McGee.
Yeah.
He had quite a crush on her when he was 10 years old.
I was only 9. I just looked 10 because I always wore my football suit. I always wore my football suit because it was padded and I was always falling off my bicycle. So you don't think Frank Schmaltz is a spy, eh, Wellington?
I do not. Definitely. In fact, I should be inclined to poo-poo the whole idea, excepting that I do not consider it worthy of a double poo. However, I shall give the story to my cousin, a police lieutenant, who likes to see his name in the paper for a few para.
Grass?
Yes, a few thousand a year, I suppose. Well, good day.
Well, your spy theory isn't getting much support, dear.
It's sickening, that's what it is. It's sickening. A guy as obvious a spy as old Frank D. Schmaltz over there, and nobody but me catches on to it.
That's just the trouble, McGee. He's too obvious to be a spy.
That's exactly how clever he is, see? Don't you get it, Molly? He acts like a spy, so everybody will say, my gosh, he acts so much like a spy, he can't possibly be one, and I'm the only one that caught on.
Well, my goodness, the man won't...
Hello, folks.
Hello, Mr. Wilcox.
Hi, Waxy. Look. You know anything about that guy Schmaltz that lives across the street? That Nazi spy?
What makes you think Frank is a spy, pal? That Eric von Stroheim haircut?
Well, he wouldn't loan McGee his lawnmower, Mr. Wilcox.
Oh, it isn't that. Entirely. It's a lot of things, Junior. He's always taking pictures out at the airplane plant, and he keeps pigeons.
How large a coat has he got?
I'd say about a 44 stub, Mr. Wilcox, with padded shoulders and all, you know.
No, he means a dove coat, Molly.
Oh.
Big enough for 40 or 50 birds, Junior. I caught one in a net Saturday and found a message tied to his leg.
Well, what did it say?
It said, roses are red, violets are blue. I mind my own business, why don't you?
So you don't think Schmaltz is a spy, eh, Junior?
I think the very idea is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah? Well, I got to talking to the mailman the other day and was sort of idly thumbing through the mail while talking to him, and you know what?
What?
He had the mail addressed to Franklin Delano Schmaltz. Who does he think he's kidding with that stuff?
So what? People have been naming children after presidents for 100 years.
Yes, but I'll have to admit that Mr. Schmaltz has a very heavy beard for a 12-year-old boy.
I'll say he has. Franklin Delano Schmaltz. It's an atlas, that's what it is.
A what?
An atlas. You know, an assumed name.
You mean alias theory?
Oh, I do, eh? Well, then who's the little girl who walked through the looking glass?
Alice.
Oh, yeah? Well, who's the guy that holds the world up on his shoulders?
That's Atlas.
What are you two trying to do, make me out a complete illiterate? Atlas is the horns on a moose, and you know it.
Oh, no, pal. Those are antlers.
Oh, yeah? Well, then what's the term for a baby ant? Antlers, so quit quibbling. And you think Schmaltz is okay, eh, Junior?
I certainly do. As a matter of fact, in something I saw him do the other day, I'd say he was a typical American.
What was that, Mr. Wilcox?
Well, he left his engine running outside the gas ration board while he went in and yelled for 40 minutes about how they were making it so tough for him. Forget it, pal. You're on the wrong track.
See, McGee, you're getting all worked up over nothing. Heavenly days, just because a man won't let you take his lawnmower doesn't make him an enemy alien.
It makes him an enemy.
Oh, dear. Well, can you leave your witch hunting long enough to go wash up for dinner?
No, I'm sorry, Molly. I'm not going to stir from this window. I'll have my dinner right here.
All right, my lord and master. Your slightest whim is my command. Up to a point, which we haven't quite reached. But we're getting close. I'll have Beulah set a card table here by the window. Oh, Beulah!
Somebody scream for Beulah in here?
Look, Beulah, I want to keep an eye on the guy across the street. Would you mind serving our dinner right here on the card table?
No, so wherever you want it, you get it. Who's the man across the street, sir?
Man named Schmaltz, Beulah. Mr. McGee thinks he might be a Nazi spy.
Goodness sake. He come Nazi spying around me, and I'm going to just stop him across the head with a frying pan.
Make it a roasting pan, Beulah. I got a feeling we're going to cook his goose.
Cook his goose, yes. Love that man.
What are we having for dinner tonight, Beulah?
Oh, gonna be real tasty, ma'am. Potage rockaway, followed by beef richelieu and soft creole, pan de blé and boudin chateau for dessert.
Wow. Aren't we getting kind of fancy, Beulah?
No. That's just cookbook for clam chowder, hamburger, and onions, cornbread, and cottage pudding.
Well, I don't mind telling you, Beulah, you're one of the best cooks I ever knew, in French or English.
Thank you, ma'am. And in return, may I say you is two of the finest eaters I ever knew, including the Scandinavian names that worked for in 1932.
You ever go to a school of domestic science, Beulah?
The best one is, sir, the OPK Academy.
OPK? Where's that?
Other people's kitchens.
Well, you sure learned your racket, Beulah. You stick pretty close to the cookbook?
Well, my mama used to tell me, Beulah, she said, always remember, some cooks can make an old hot water bottle taste like a fine piece of beef. But the versa can really get to be a vice. Well, Susan, I'll be back in a minute.
The King's Men sing It's Love, Love, Love.
Oh, you got a chill, you never had it before. You don't know just what goes, but oh boy, you feel a thrill, you make a dash for the door. You're aglow with a fabulous joy. If your heart goes bumpity bump, 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 it is a knocking on your ribs for fun. And if your nerves go jumpity jump, 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 you better get the nearest creature on the run. You giggle when you shouldn't, you wiggle like an elf, and though you thought you wouldn't, you've been talking to yourself. Here's an ample sample. Imagine her imagining that she loves me. Enough to start a family tree. Imagine us together in a family tree. She's the mama, Papa's me. If your brain goes jiggity jig, 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 it's love, love, love. If your feet go diggity dig, 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 it's love, love, love. If your friends go shoo, 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 that's love, love, love. If you're jumping like a crazy kangaroo, that's love. Even little flowers and the birdies up above know it's love, love, love. You got to laugh, you got to laugh when you get to be a man and wife. Just look ahead the rest of your life. Imagine 40 years of happy family life. You the husband, she the wife. If your heart goes somebody, some, it's love, love, love. If your feet go jumpity, jump, 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 it's love, love, love. You wonder just what songwriters ever would write about what this crazy old world would be like without love, 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 love.
Hey, Mama, you know what? Schmaltz has spent the whole afternoon putting up a radio area.
Well, you were 4 days putting ours up.
Huh?
And then we couldn't get anything but local stations unless we shut off the refrigerator and wore headphones.
Yeah, but this is a different thing. Schmaltz has got an aerial 90 feet long. Look at the darn thing.
You sure that isn't a clothesline?
Clothesline, 30 feet off the ground? Even his long underwear isn't that long. I'm telling you, that guy can send messages to Tokyo with an aerial like that.
Oh, McGee, this is a lot of nonsense. You spent the whole day peeping out of the windows and...
Get in front of me, Molly, quick. I'll shoot over your shoulder.
Ah, don't be silly. Come in. Oh, Dr. Gamble. Hello, Doctor.
Hello, Molly. Hi, medicine man. How are you today, Jessica? Want to go for a walk?
I can't leave the front window, Doc. I'm keeping an eye on the guy across the street. He's a German spy.
Frank Schmaltz, the German spy. McGee, you killed me.
The first sensible suggestion I've heard today.
but I tell you, Doc, this guy's a dangerous alien. Oh, trust me. The trouble with you, McGee, is you haven't enough to occupy your mind. Sit around on your imagination all day and dream up fancy crimes for the neighbors. Is that so? Why, you short-sighted, dull-witted walking delegate of the Butchers' Union, you can't see a case of sabotage when it's dangled in front of your puffy old eye. Why, you little dime store Dick Tracy, you wouldn't recognize a spy if you saw him coming ashore in a rubber boat. Go douse yourself with some tannic acid. You're suffering from third-degree William J. Burns. Is that so? Yeah. By George, you...
Now, boy, stop. Well, you think Mr. Schmaltz is all right, do you, Doctor?
Certainly. What makes you think he's a spy?
He wouldn't lend McGee his lawnmower.
Hypo, my goodness. Good day. Molly, gee whiz, loaning me his lawnmower didn't have much to do with it. All that done was to make me suspicious in the first place.
Nevertheless, dearie, the doctor is right. This whole thing is silly, and I'll go help Beulah set up a card table.
Okay. Oh, that was a good kid. But she don't realize the seriousness of this situation. Here I am, the only guy in town that's caught on to this guy. And who can I convince? Nobody. My gosh, if he realized I knew his secret, he'd bump me off the... Don't shoot! I mean, put him up! I see you. Who is it? Answer, yes or come in. Oh. Hi, sis. Come in, quick. Get out of the line of fire.
What line of what fire, mister?
Well, you never know when there might be shooting, sis.
Oh, goody. Who's going to shoot somebody?
If that guy Schmaltz across the street catches on to the fact that I'm onto his game, he'll be shooting at me. You realize that guy's a German spy, sis?
Gee, honest, mister? How'd you know?
He wouldn't lend me his lawnmower. Well, I know it, that's all. He takes pictures of war planes. He's got a German accent. He keeps pigeons.
I know it. Career pigeons.
Carrier pigeons.
My daddy says when a man spends as much time with his pigeons as Mr. Schmaltz does, it's a career.
So, your old man, so your father noticed it too, did he? I says your father noticed this guy's activities too, eh?
Sure. My daddy says if Mr. Schmaltz's pigeons don't quit eating our garden seeds, we're either going to have grilled schmaltz or squab on toast.
Your garden seeds ain't important, sis. This guy is a Sabatini. He's perfectly likely to throw a handful of incendiary bombs into the car barn and disrupt transportation.
Did you tell the cops, mister? Did you?
I've told the cops, I've wired Washington, I've squawked everybody. And what happened? Nobody believes me. I'm an alarmist. I'm a big stoop. I'm a fussy old fool.
I know it.
Huh? I tell you, sis, something has got to be done. But quick.
Okay. I'll get Willie Toops, and we'll take his air rifle, and we'll bust a couple of his front winners, and when he comes running out, I'll go in his garage and let the air out of his tires, and while I do that, you cut his telephone wire.
Hey. Now, not so fast, sis, not so fast. We got no authority for stuff like that there.
Well, gee, has he got any authority for throwing in sanitary bombs into the car barn? Has he?
Well, no, but my gosh, that's...
Okay then. Willie busts the window. I'll let the air out of his tires. You cut the phone wires. Willie chases the pigeons away. I'll stick in the cellar window.
No, sis, no. Gee whiz, we can't take the law into our own hands like that. The guy may be a rat, but he's entitled to the due processes of the law, see? We gotta be legal.
Is it legal to be a German spy?
Well, no, but...
Okay then, Willie shoots the windows. I'll let the air out of his tires. You cut the phone wires.
No, sis, no.
Willie chases the pigeons. I sneak in the cellar window. Hey, Willie!
No. Gee whiz, that kid's liable to ruin everything. I'm going to run over there.
I hear you talking to somebody, McGee.
Yeah, the little girl from across the street. I told her about Schmaltz, and she's all for burning down his house and wrecking his car.
Well, that's what always happens when you don't let the proper authorities handle things like this. Heavenly days.
Oh, my gosh! She did it! That little mug!
McGee, you can't let her get into trouble like that. You'll have to help her.
Okay, I will, but why can't I keep my big fat mouth shut? Well, here we go!
Hey, get back in the house there, you, before you get hurt.
What's the matter, officer?
Hey, what's going on here?
Arresting one of your neighbors, a guy named Schmaltz. He's a German spy.
You hear that, Molly? Schmaltz is a German spy.
What you said, dearie.
I did? I did! I caught a spy! Now call the newspapers! Call the newspapers!
Conservation is something we hear a good deal about today, and rightly so. There's no argument about it. We've all got to take the best possible care of our things to make them last. But if you've been protecting your linoleum with Johnson's self-polishing glow coat, you've been practicing sound conservation right along. You've been giving those linoleum surfaces protection against the destructive influence of dirt and moisture and scuffing feet. That's why we say that the regular use of glow coat makes linoleum last 6 to 10 times longer. The film of glow coat takes all the wear, and the surface underneath is safe. When you consider that in addition to that protection, self-polishing glow coat saves you hours of work and keeps your linoleum floors gleaming with beauty, well, then you can understand why glow coat has become so tremendously popular. It needs no rubbing, no buffing, because it's self-polishing. You simply apply and let dry, and glow coat does the rest. Wherever you have floors of linoleum, asphalt tile, or rubber tile, you'll find Johnson's glow coat offers the easy, economical way to care for them.
Ladies and gentlemen, this program begins our 10th year on the air for Johnson's Wax. We'd like to express our thanks to the Johnson Wax people, to Don Quinn, our writer, the National Broadcasting Company, and especially to you.
As always, your loyalty and support have been wonderful, and we deeply appreciate it. Next year, oh, for goodness sakes, McGee, stop fidgeting. Haven't you any appreciation?
Sure, and I got hope, too.
Hope for what?
Hope that Small left his garage unlocked. That's where he keeps his lawnmower. Good night.
Good night, all.
The character of Mr. Wellington heard on this program was played by Ransom Sherman. This is Harlow Wilcox, speaking for the makers of Johnson's Wax for Home and Industry, inviting you to be with us again next Tuesday night. Good night.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
The Johnson Wax Program with Fibber McGee and Molly. The makers of Johnson's Wax for Home and Industry present Fibber McGee and Molly, written by Don Quinn, with music by the King's Men and Billy Mills Orchestra. House cleaning in any year is certainly nothing to write poems or songs about. But in a year like this one, when we're all so busy and there's less help around, any shortcut in the work is most welcome. If your floors, furniture, and woodwork have been regularly protected during the year with Johnson's Wax, you'll know right away what I mean. You'll understand how much easier it is to do a thorough job of cleaning than it was before you adopted wax housekeeping. Dirt just doesn't stick to a wax surface. Woodwork and windowsills that have been waxed don't get nearly as dirty and are ever so much easier to clean. And if you've Johnson waxed your accessories, picture frames, lampshades, ornaments, pantry shelves, just to mention a few, then you've eliminated much of the drudgery of spring house cleaning. If you haven't been using Johnson's Wax to protect and beautify your home, then this is a mighty good time to begin. Johnson's Wax comes in 3 convenient forms: paste, liquid, and the cream wax, specially formulated for furniture and woodwork. Of those 2 men with big bags on their backs who bring you things, Santa Claus and the mailman has about 300 more chances a year to surprise you. Like just now, when he is approaching 79 Wistful Vista with a special delivery letter in his hand. All unbeknownst to Fibber McGee and Molly.
What were your plans for today, dear?
Oh, I don't know. Thought I might drop in at the Elk. Then go past the cigar store for a minute to see who the guys who elected the next president. Maybe stop at the bank on my way home.
At the bank? Blood bank or First National?
Blood bank. Who's got any money?
Well, I was just thinking that...
Come in.
Oh, good morning, mailman.
Morning. Is your spouse in the house?
If you mean is my guy standing by, yes, he is. McGee, the mailman, wants to see you.
Oh, what's on your mind, my little civilian sad sack? What's on your mind? And haven't we met before someplace?
Sonny.
What?
I said, Sonny. I used to meet you frequently when I was taking sodas at Kramer's drugstore. Remember?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, sure. How come you left Kramer's to deliver mail, Bud?
Well, Washingtons don't seem to consider shaking sodas an essential industry. Delivering mail is an essential industry. So forthwith and without more ado, I am now a mailman in essential industry. And here's a special delivery for you.
Much obliged.
Are you going back to Kramer's drugstore after the war, son?
Probably.
Huh?
I said trolley.
What do you mean, trolley?
I mean trolley. T-R-O-D-A-B-L-Y, trolley.
Well, much obliged for the letter, Bud. I'll see you again.
Hey, wait a minute. You'll have to sign it.
What?
Now, what's the matter? Don't I articulate the thing? I said you'll have to sign it.
He means we'll have to sign for it, Molly.
No, not weasel, just usual.
Okay, just measles. Where do I sign it, Bud?
Bomb line.
Which line?
Bomb. Look, B-O-T-T-O-M, bomb.
Oh, well, there you are, Bud. Thanks.
It's okay. All the days, boy.
Who's the letter from, dearie?
I don't know. Well, I'll be... Hey, look! It's from my cousin, Roy McGee, in Portland, Oregon.
Oh?
Last time I heard from that guy was in 1930, and he wanted to borrow $20.
Well, times are better now. Maybe he wants to borrow 100.
Yeah. You get the same reply he got in 1930.
Which was for the what?
Well, I can't spell it. It's just a noise you make with your tongue. Now, let's see. Have a look here. Dear Tripper. I don't know whether you... Anyway, here in Portland, Oregon. Take complete charge. Oh, my God. Oh, this is wonderful. This is marvelous.
Well, that's nice. Someday, when we're walking hand in hand up some quiet country lane in the hush of the evening, maybe you'll give me just a tiny little hint of what it's all about. Not that I want to be Snoopy, sweetheart.
Why, it's from my cousin Roy. He wants us to come to Portland, Oregon and live in his house this summer.
Yeah?
Seems he owns a string of canneries and wants me to take complete charge of them. He says if I make good, he'll turn one of them over to me.
What do you know about the canning business?
Anything Roy McGee could learn in 15 years, I can learn in 2 days. Boy, oh boy, imagine me in charge of 6 canning factories.
What do you suppose he can?
I don't know.
Besides you, when he finds out how much you don't know about canning.
Well, let me see. Portland, Oregon. That's salmon and tuna fish country. And cherries.
Tuna fish and cherries. Who'd eat a combination like that?
We wouldn't can them together. Hey, maybe that wouldn't be so bad. I've seen worse combinations in tea room salads. Tuna fish and cherries. Oh, well, we'll see about that later. Much later. First thing we got to do is sell this house.
Sell this house? Oh, now, McGee.
Got to make a clean break, baby. Can't run a canning plant in Portland, Oregon and keep my other pants hanging in Wistful Vista. Got to put the house up for sale. Hand me the phone.
Oh, dear, you're so impulsive. Here.
Thanks. Hello, operator. Give me the Wistful Vista real estate and escrow. Oh, is that you, Mert?
Oh, dear.
How's every little thing, Mert? Did, eh? What's that, Mert? Sidney, the grocery boy. He did, eh? Did she scream?
Did who scream, McGee?
Mert's kid sister.
Why should she scream?
Sid kissed her.
Oh.
What's say, Mert? No, let's not try it again. Okay, I'll call later. Just going to put the house up for sale. Yeah. Going to Portland, Oregon, Mert. Yeah. Going in the canning business. Canning business. Yeah. Don't say anything about it yet, Mert. Okay, thanks. Real estate office is busy.
Oh, dear. I love that business about telling Myrtle to keep it quiet.
Mm-hmm.
That girl spills more beans than a Navy cook in a hurricane.
I know that, Tootsie. And inside of 3 hours, everybody in town will know we're moving to Portland. Saves making a formal announcement.
I see. She's a one-woman secret service with no secrets.
Mert couldn't keep a secret if she was blindfolded, gagged, bound, and buried under 40 feet of cement.
No.
When she was given the gift of gab, she took it back and got a larger size.
Yeah.
That kid collects more wrong dope than a narcotic squad, and to her, the word truth is just part of a radio show called And Consequently.
Yeah.
Mert means well, but her sound wasn't wired for brains. And she uses green lipstick so her mouth won't have to stop. She's the only girl known to medical science whose tongue has worn out 3 faces.
Oh, dear.
The only reason they gave her that job on the ground floor of the telephone exchange was because they knew Mert could never run down. She was vaccinated with a...
orchestra play. Here it is Monday.
Information is a 1907 almanac.
Yeah.
She makes more noise and less sense than a broken record of a Japanese lecture on flower.
You're right.
She can take a veiled hint and build it up into a 3-act play with 12 scenes and an oleo. She's the kind that burns the scandal at both ends as she gushes like a broken water main. Besides that, she talks too much.
Oh, dear. Well, I guess that takes care of Myrtle.
Betcha.
I hope you never sit down and start really analyzing my qualities, dearie.
I did that long ago.
You did?
And you come out of it a very noble character.
Oh, my.
Shall I try that again? Now, let me see. Oh, yeah, this wire, Roy.
I still think you're rushing into something you're pretty ignorant of. You don't know anything about the canny business.
So what? Did Eisenhower know anything about Africa? Did Bob Hope know anything about toothpaste? Let alone Miriam Ziriam. Now, what do you think of this telegram to Roy?
Well, let me see it. Roy K. McGee, Portland, Oregon. Your offer comes at a difficult time as I've had several propositions from big syndicates in the East. What big syndicates?
You ever hear of Frawley, Bullfinch, Hammerfelt, and Crump?
No, did you?
No, did Roy?
I see what you mean.
Betcha.
Well, now, let me see. It says here, however, family ties are stronger than mere money offers, so you may consider Portland deal okay with me. Please have small gymnasium and steam room installed in my office as I believe in executives keeping fit. Signed, McGee.
How's that sound?
What's all that eyewash about executives like you keeping fit? Your idea of a day's workout is reaching for more marmalade at breakfast.
I thought that was kind of impressive. They say Darryl Zanuck and some of those Hollywood big shots walk around all day swinging polo niblets and stuff.
Mr. Zanuck is a polo player, dear. You're a gin rummy player. You can walk around swinging the 10 of diamonds.
Oh, what do you think of the telegram?
Too long.
What would you say?
I'd say Mr. Roy McGee, Portland, Oregon. Deal okay, signed McGee.
That takes all the business-like stuff out of it.
Cuts the horse feathers down to a quill, if that's what you mean.
Well, my gosh, businessmen like to hear things. Come in.
Oh, good day, Mr. Wellington.
My dear Mrs. McGee, you have no idea how much pleasure it gives me to see you again. And McGee, you have no idea.
Hi, Wellington. I'd shake hands with you, but you're a little out of reach up there on that high horse.
Musing fellow. Someday, old man, I should like to follow you around all day and take notes of everything you say.
With what in mind, Mr. Wellington?
To see if it looks as silly as it sounds.
Ah, touche.
What do you mean, touche? My hair is my own, and you know it. I never...
I didn't say toupee, dearie. I said touche.
Huh?
A French expression meaning you got it.
Oh.
Was there something we could do for you, Mr. Wellington?
I will come directly to the point. How much do you want for it?
For what?
This house? I have it on very good authority that you are putting it up for sale.
See what I mean, Molly? Mert didn't waste any time.
Isn't it wonderful? Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Wellington. The house is not for sale as yet. Our plans are not fully mature.
You see, Sig, I'm thinking of taking over a string of canning factories up in Portland, Oregon. If I do, I'll naturally pull up stakes here, but I'll let you know, Sig.
I have your word, then, that I may have first refusal?
Absolutely, Wellington.
Good, because I'd be the first to. Allow me to wish you every success in Portland, Oregon.
Gone?
Like a flash.
That's what a college degree does for some mugs, Molly. They spend the rest of their lives trying to make their heads fit those flat hats. No. Hey, what kind of clothes do you wear in Oregon?
Search me, dearie. It's warm out there, isn't it?
Is it?
I think the Japanese current goes past the coastline.
Yeah, but how about that war?
Well? What do you say we look it up? Hand me that encyclopedia.
Here you are.
Now, let me see. Portland. Here we are. Look, it's on the Columbia River.
Ah, that's salmon country. Oh, I'm going to like that job. Go out in the morning with your fish pole and catch your salmon. Come back in the afternoon and can them. That's what I call a real... Hello, folks.
Hello, Mr. Wilcox.
Hi, boy. Mighty glad to see you, boy. Won't have much time to spend with each other from now on, boy. But it was swell knowing you, boy. Really swell.
Say, what is this? Is he going to jail for a while, Molly?
On the contrary, Mr. Wilcox, this is a cannery he's being thrown into.
Yeah. String of canning plants up in Portland, Oregon, Waxy. Belong to my favorite cousin, Roy McGee.
Your favorite cousin? You always told me he was a no-good bum.
Did I tell you he had a string of canning plants?
No.
Of course not. If I'd have known he was rich, he'd have been my favorite cousin long ago. Incidentally, Junior, I might be in the market for a clean-cut lad like you as sales manager. You ever think seriously of leaving the Johnson's wax outfit?
Nope.
You wouldn't consider it, Mr. Wilcox?
Nope.
That's your last word?
Yep.
Haven't you any more to, now that the subject has been, heavenly days, you usually...
Haven't you got any message for us today, Waxy? Some little thing that'll brighten people's lives? Make them happier?
Well, yes, I have.
Oh.
It's about female.
What do you mean, V-mail?
Well, that's what I mean. When you write to any boy or girl in the service, use V-mail, because V-mail delivery is guaranteed. It saves precious cargo space, and it's the only kind of personal mail that's always sent overseas by air.
Yeah, but what's V-mail got to do with Johnson's self-harm?
Believe me, if you were a soldier in Australia, you got a letter inside of 7 days, you'd really appreciate it. That's what V-mail does. It moves. It literally flies. So when you write to your friends and relatives in the service, get some V-mail stationery at your druggist, stationer, or dime store. Address it correctly and completely, and you've guaranteed safe, fast delivery.
I certainly don't know how he's ever going to tie that up with glow coat, McGee.
He can't do it now.
Remember, folks, like Johnson's self-polishing glow coat, spelled GLO-COAT, every letter counts. And you make yours count, too, when you use V-mail.
Heavenly days, he did it.
Yeah.
Well, you think you'll be a success in the canning business, pal?
Why not? My cousin runs this thing. I don't have to work my way up. As soon as I'm in, I'm up.
Well, look, do you know anything about canning?
Well, my experience has taught me one very valuable rule.
What is that, sir?
Never jab an opener into a can of tomato juice while wearing a white summer suit.
Well, I take it the same rule applies to a can of mushroom soup while wearing blue serge.
It does, indeed, it does. I shall keep you informed as to further suggestions, Junior.
Please do, and good luck with it, Canner.
Thanks, Waxer. I'd like to have that boy in my organization. He's got brains and ambition. Doesn't smoke, drink, chew, nor watch the clock. Hey, where are you going, Molly?
I'm going upstairs to look at the linen situation, just in case we do go to Oregon. Don't forget to send the wire to Roy now.
I won't. There goes a good kid. I know she thinks Oregon is full of Indians and grizzly bears. But does she squawk and complain? No, sir, not her. I can just see her standing there in the door of our cabin with a rifle. While I run down the path to the canning plant. With the clean, sharp aroma of the pine woods and last year's salmon. Come in.
Hi, mister.
Ah, there, my dear. Do come in and sit down.
Well, I was...
I said, do come in and sit down. After all, I may be gone a long time, and I should like to have only the pleasantest of memories of my little friends in Wistful Vista. Come, child, sit down.
Okay, mister, I'll bite. What's the gimmick?
No gimmick, sis. I'm just in a sentimental mood, I guess. Mrs. McGee and I are going to Oregon.
Oh.
Huh? What?
Sure.
Okay.
When you going, mister? When?
No, that's this summer, sis. End of June sometime. Get there just about the time the salmon are going upstream to pawn their young.
To what, mister?
To pawn their young. Salmon do that, you know. That's biological in a kind of a fishy way. You see, sis, when a mama salmon wants the stork to bring her some little salmons, she fights her way upstream.
Why?
I don't know. Just life, I guess. All mothers have a kind of a shad row to hoe.
What'd you say, mister?
Skip it. Anyway, when they get upstream, they start pawning their young.
Gee, do they, honest?
That's what they tell me.
Oh.
Pawning with salmon refers to the fact that the young salmon are left as security for the old folks, you see. In fact, the original pawn shop symbol, sis, was originally meant to indicate 3 golden fish balls made of salmon.
Look, mister. In the first place, the salmon run doesn't start in June. It starts in February usually and lasts through spring.
Yeah, but
Secondly, the older fish do not return to the spawning grounds. They usually die on the return trip to the sea. The young salmon, or par, live in fresh water a year or two and then they go to sea as smolts.
Yes, but
In approximately another 2 years, they seek fresh water again, thus completing the cycle. So save that blessed event stuff for people who believe in it, like Mr. Winchell.
The King's Men sing Billy Mills' song, The Sound Effects Man.
Oh, what would we do without the sound effects man? That radio racketeer. Tune your dial and listen a while. This is what you'll hear. There's a knock up on the door. That's the sound effects man. Here's a kiss and maybe more. That's the sound effects man. If you'd like a ring, he'll give you.
They play this song a lot. So we just skip it.
Cowboys galloping fit to bust. That's the sound effects man. 4 more redskins fight the dust. That's the sound effects man. He has such an awful lot to do, and yet he very seldom ever misses a cue. He's a 3-alarm fire and the fire chief to the kitchen floor if it's covered with.
I don't know whether I am or not, dearie. Oregon seems a long way away.
Oh, you're going to love it out there. You know, Portland, Oregon raises some of the most beautiful roses in the country.
Yeah, they'd almost have to with all those fish canneries, it seems to me. Incidentally, I think Beulah's fixing trout for dinner.
Oh, boy, trout. That's for me. How's Beulah fixing?
I'll see. Oh, Beulah?
Somebody in here yipping for Beulah?
How are you fixing the trout for dinner, Beulah?
Broiled with sketch butter.
Sketch butter?
Yes, and butter's too scarce to draw. I just thought I got to sketch it.
Got some news for you, Beulah. We're thinking seriously of going to Portland, Oregon this summer. Will you miss us?
No, sir.
What? You won't?
No, ma'am, I'm going with you.
Great, Beulah, great. What did your boyfriend say to that?
Who, Waldemar?
Yeah.
I was going to teach him a lesson, sir. Yeah, you know, we had a little set to the other night.
A set two. What about, Beulah?
Well, there's a big chair in my living room, and Waldemar say, "Come here, gal, and sit on my lap." I said, "No," and he said, "Why not?" And I said, "Boy, that chair won't sit but one." And he said, "This chair set too easy." But it did, and I almost busted my leg.
I see. Waldemar had a crush on you, and you had a crash on him.
The man on the crash on him. Love that man.
Well, maybe a few months' absence will set Waldemar right, Beulah.
I hope so, ma'am. You know what you say is the trouble with women?
No, what?
Trouble. Don't tell us Waldemar's a woman hater, Beulah. On the contrary, ma'am. On the positively very. He's too good looking to be a woman hater.
What do you mean, Beulah?
Well, sir, the proper ingredients for a woman hater are one good-looking woman and one homely man. Man say, "Hi, babe." Woman say, "Go shopping yourself, skate." Result, one woman hater.
Yeah.
Well, let me know when to get ready to leave the portal, folks.
There's another railroad fare to Oregon, McGee.
I'll put that on the expense account. My gosh, Molly, think what my salary ought to be for managing 6 canning factories. One of them ought to pay $10,000 a year, 6 of them would pay $60,000. Wow, $60,000 a year. Why, think of the income tax on that. Must be around $25,000. Why, that's almost half. I won't pay it. By George, that's confiscatory. I'll take this case to the highest court.
Come in. Oh, hello, Doctor.
Hello, Molly. Hello, Worry Wart.
Hi, Errol Smith.
What are you scowling about?
Taxes, Doctor.
Taxes? What taxes has he got to worry about? He makes just enough to keep his head above water. And there are those who fail to see any necessity for that.
I'm not squawking about my present taxes, you big oaf. But I got a big job coming up in Oregon, managing a string of canning factories for my cousin.
Canning factories?
Yes.
Well, as the prince said when he first saw Cinderella, now there is one of my favorite subjects. You managing a canning factory.
Oh, now he can do it, Doctor. He can do it.
You're darn mighty right I can do it.
Oh, chutney. You couldn't manage an ice cream parlor at the North Pole. Why, you'd have labor trouble with a marionette show. It'd be like an Airedale running a flea circus.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Why, you pompous old pill roller. When it comes to business, you got about as much head as yesterday's beer.
You don't say.
I do say.
Well, look who's talking. Of all the inconsequential, inconsistent impersonators of industrial impresarios, you are without doubt the outstanding example of pragmatic ineptitude.
Sometimes I wish I'd gone farther in school. I never know whether to take a bow or a sock at somebody.
The lack of a college education has probably saved you a lot of teeth, dearie.
Molly, just what is this nonsense about him running some canning factory?
It isn't nonsense, you lemonhead. It's a fact.
His cousin Roy in Portland, Oregon wants us to move into his house this summer and take complete charge of all his canning.
I'll handle the purchasing, sanitation, housing, welfare work, and all stuff like that there. And he says if I make good, I can take my pick at the plants and he'll turn it over to me.
There is something fishy about this, and I don't mean salmon.
No, there isn't, Doctor. Show him the letter, McGee.
Okay, there. Read that now, you big septic.
All right. Dear Fibber, my wife and I would like to take a well-earned vacation this summer and wonder if you would come to Oregon and keep an eye on things while we're away.
Mm-hmm.
As you may know, I have a string of very valuable canaries.
Canaries.
What?
Read that again, Doc. You said canaries.
That's what it says, canaries.
Canaries.
Let me see that letter. This is a canary. Oh, this is ridiculous. It doesn't say canary. You can't run a canary.
While I'm on the subject of spring house cleaning, let me say a word in favor of that good friend of all linoleum surfaces, Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat. Floors that have been regularly protected with Glow Coat can be crossed right off your list of extra chores. They'll take all the wear and tear that comes with the rains of spring and the dust of summer and come up smiling. Johnson's Glow Coat is a real labor saver because it needs no rubbing or buffing and takes a minimum of work to apply. And when you spill something, you mop it up in a jiffy with a damp cloth. If you have linoleum in your front entrance hall, brighten it up with an occasional application of Glow Coat. The colors will be as fresh as new again, a cheerful welcome to your friends. And for all floors made of asphalt tile, the approved polish is Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat.
What are you doing, McGee?
I'm writing a telegram to Cousin Roy in Portland.
What are you saying?
I says your letter impertinent and insulting. You are a cheapskate and a rat, and if you ever write to me again, I'll pin your ears back with your own bicuspids. Warmest personal regards. Signed, Fibber.
Very good. Day letter?
Night.
Night all.
The character of Mr. Wellington heard on this program was played by Ransom Sherman. This is Harlow Wilcox, speaking for the makers of Johnson's Wax for home and industry, and inviting you all to be with us again next Tuesday night. Good night.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
The Johnson Wax Program with Fibber McGee and Molly. The makers of Johnson's Wax for home and industry present Fibber McGee and Molly, written by Don Quinn, with music by the Kingsmen and Billy Mills Orchestra. I'd like to tell you again tonight what I mean by wax housekeeping. It helps explain why, for over 50 years, Johnson's Wax has been increasingly helpful. When you think about it for a moment, you'll realize that package of wax on your shelf is not just a product, it's a method of housekeeping, a means of protecting all kinds of surfaces throughout your home, a way to save you hours of work all through the year, and still have such beautiful floors, furniture, and woodwork that your friends envy you. When you apply Johnson's wax to wood, leather, and metal surfaces, you are protecting them with an invisible but tough shield, a shield which guards them against wear and dirt. When you polish that wax shield, your floors and furniture glow with rich, mellow beauty, beauty that increases with each application of Johnson's wax. When you consider the many extra uses for this wax throughout your home, you'll understand what I mean by wax housekeeping. With genuine Johnson's wax, either paste, liquid, or cream. Once upon a time, there was a certain relative named Aunt Sarah. Aunt Sarah was in the chips. She was a Tootsie with a roll. She had bigger diamonds than Wrigley Field and the Polo Grounds, and a greenish complexion from peering into safe deposit boxes. And like lots of people with all that moolah, she was tighter than a bullfighter's pants. She spent her life visiting with relatives. And guess who she plans on staying with now? Right, Fibber McGee and Molly.
Of all the dirty impositions, why does that skin-wadded old tight flint have to pick on us?
Now, stop grousing, dearie. Heavenly days, I didn't moan and grumble when you wanted to stay in your cousin Roy's house in Oregon, did I?
Well...
I guess we can stand my Aunt Sarah for a few days.
A few days, she says. Mark my words, baby. You let that penny pincher get a toe in the door, and we got a house guest till the termites chew it down.
Well, I'll admit she wouldn't be my choice for a permanent guest, but she's just a lonely old lady, and she's welcome to stay here a while.
Lonely my clavicle. If I had her folding money, I'd have more companions than the Curtis Publishing Company.
People who like you for your money aren't apt to be very good company.
People who are on the make for your dough are the best company in the world. They'll do anything to make you happy.
Well, anyway, she's coming. We can't do a thing about it, except make her feel at home. Now, be nice to her.
Oh, I'll be nice. Little Lord Fauntleroy. Pardon me, Mrs. Gotrocks, I'll say. Pardon me, but your deposit slip shows.
Now, McGee, that's enough.
Huh?
Look, she's my aunt.
Yeah.
She can't help it if her husband left her all that money. Forget she's got it and treat her like a human being.
Well, I'll try. But when I think of the junk she sent us at different times, that abalone lamp from San Francisco.
She sent us that beautiful clock for a wedding present, remember?
That marble Venus with the clock in her stomach? Anybody that'd buy a thing like that has got less taste than a tea-room cutlet.
All right, but we have to be nice to her. She's our closest relative, you know.
You never spoke a truer word, baby. She's closer than Scotch tape. Well, what'll we do now? I brought the hand-painted sofa cushions and that hunk of lava from Mount Vesuvius down from the attic.
Well, put the lava on the mantelpiece.
Okay. Yeah?
Yeah, and the bottle of sand from the painted desert on the end table.
Okay.
Did you find the brown sweater she knitted for you?
That mustard-colored horse blanket with the 2-inch pearl buttons?
Yeah, the one that came down to your knees with the elbow-length sleeve?
Yeah.
Couldn't you let her see you wear it for just a little while?
I wouldn't be seen in that Olson and Johnson costume for all the sea.
Oh, hello, Alice, dear.
Hello, Mrs. McGee. Hello, Mr. McGee. Creepers, what have you been doing to the living room? I never saw so much junk.
Junk, my dear girl, is the kindest thing you could say for it. This is all the stuff Molly's Aunt Sarah has given us at different times from different places.
Oh. She's coming tomorrow to stay with us a while, and we want to make her feel at home, Alice.
Yeah. Any of this Rube Goldberg collection you want for your hopeless chest, kid, just speak up.
Maybe Alice would like that little bottle of water Aunt Sarah sent us from Niagara Falls.
Oh, is it hard water or soft water?
What difference does that make?
Well, none to me, but my cousin went over Niagara Falls in a barrel once, and I just wondered if it was bumpy.
I think your cousin must have been a little bumpy after...
McGee! Would you like to have this thing, Alice? Aunt Sarah sent us that from the Mammoth Cave.
What is it?
It's a stalemate.
Stalagmite.
What do you mean, stalagmite? Stalagmite means like when water gets stale from not being rained into all summer.
No, Mr. McGee, that's stagnant.
Oh, yeah? Well, then what does stalemate mean?
A stalemate is a husband who never takes you out to dance or anything.
I know exactly what you mean.
Okay. Let it go. I just hope Aunt Sarah won't get on your nerves too much, Alice.
Oh, we'll get along all right, Mr. McGee. Isn't she the aunt with all the money?
She's very well off, I guess, Alice. I think that's why McGee dislikes her. You know how it is. The 8 gots always throw rocks at the gots.
That is not why I dislike Aunt Sarah. I dislike her because she talks so much you can't get a word in edgewise. She's a regular filibuster.
Oh, what's a filibuster?
Well, that's when you give somebody the floor and they hit you over the head with it.
That woman is so... What? Hey, well, what you looking for, Alice?
Well, that picture.
What picture, dear?
Well, didn't you used to have an oil painting of Aunt Sarah hanging right over the piano?
Set it on fire.
Oh, my God.
The oil painting.
Where is it?
We gotta find it. Run up to the attic, McGee.
I looked up there. It isn't there.
Try the garage.
It ain't in the garage. I cleaned that out last week. Oh, this is awful. We gotta find that
I
picture.
think I know where it is.
Where?
Right in here in the hall closet. See? Here it is.
Billy Mills and the orchestra play Anitra's Dance.
Gee, I wish I had time to get some artist to touch up this painting of Aunt Sarah before she gets here.
Certainly looks battered.
Mhm.
What are all those little holes in it?
Well, we had it in the basement last winter, and Billy Mills and I didn't have any target for our dart game. So...
What? You threw darts at Aunt Sarah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see where I got her? Right here in the beezer? I scored 75 with that.
That's disgraceful.
Sure it is. For a shot like that, a guy ought to get 95.
Poor Aunt Sarah. You might at least have respect for her age, McGee.
The only thing I respect about that gabby old pickle puss is the way bank presidents run and open the door for her. I never saw such a...
Come in. Oh, hello, Mr. Wellington.
Ah, good day, Mrs. McGee. What gives you that happy, youthful expression today? And McGee, what gives?
Hello, Wellington. I'm not under oath, so I don't mind saying it's nice to see you.
Thank you. I see you were about to hang a picture, and what an interesting old painting it is, too. The Hesperus, isn't it?
It is not the Hesperus, Mr. Wellington. That is an oil painting of my Aunt Sarah.
Natural mistake. Quite a natural mistake. You can ring up no sale for either one of them. Was there something we could do for you, Siggy?
On the contrary, old man, there is something I can do for you.
What's that? What's that, Mr. Wellington?
You will perhaps recall that last Saturday evening, when you attended the Bijou Theater, seats 12 and 14, row G, left aisle, that you experienced some difficulty, some small difficulty, with the popcorn machine in the lobby.
If by some small difficulty, Wellington, You mean that pile of junk that grabs your dough and hasn't given up a grain of popcorn since Lloyd Hamilton threw his last pie? You're right.
McGee put a nickel in the machine, held his hat under the spout, and nothing happened, Mr. Wellington.
So I swatted it with my hand. I kicked the junior out of it with my foot. And then I complained to the usher, and he insulted me. He says I probably put a phone slug into it. The nasty little quisling.
I know. It might please you to hear that we now have a new usher taking his place.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Wellington. I'm sure the boy meant well.
Oh, he did indeed. In fact, I have made him assistant manager.
For insulting a patron?
No, for guarding the machine until we could get your phone slug out of it. Permit me to return it.
Well, what do you know?
Just enough to keep an eye on you hereafter. Good afternoon, Mrs. McGee, and the balance of the day to you, Nightcrawler.
If time ever comes when I let that guy really irk me, I'll box his ears and won't mail him back to him for 3 weeks.
But this is your phone slug.
So what if it is my phone slug? It's just the same as a nickel. Gee whiz, if I... Hey, where'll I hang this picture?
I think right where it used to be, over the piano.
Oh, yeah.
Aunt Sarah's quite musical, you know.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. She's so bow-legged, I'd have said she was studying the cello. This about the right height?
Yes, but quite a bit more to the right, dearie. She's a Republican. That's it.
Okay. Now, up you go, Aunt Sarah. And hanging is much too good for you. How's that, Molly?
Well, how can I tell you? Got her face to the wall.
Well, that's just till she gets here. No use making it any tougher on ourselves than we have to.
Well, that's pretty silly. Though I'll admit Aunt Sarah was never any Miss America.
I'd go further than that and say that America would never miss Aunt Sarah. She's positively...
Hello, folks. How's every little... Hey, where'd you get all the bric-a-brac? Some museum hold an auction?
No, Mr. Wilcox. These are all things my Aunt Sarah has given us at different times. She's coming to visit us tomorrow.
Well, Miss Aunt Sarah must be quite a character.
Character? In neon, brother.
That's her picture of the piano, Mr. Wilcox.
Poor old soul. Smallpox?
Dark game.
Oh. Say, the frame looks sort of dull, don't you think?
Come to think of it, it does, Mr. Wilcox. What would you suggest we do about it?
Oh, my gosh, what a question. Ladies and gentlemen, my wife is a sweet girl, but very naive. Oh, well, go ahead, Waxy. Play us one of your unfinished symphonies for four-finger and cash register.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Molly asked me what to do about that picture frame, and I was merely going to suggest some Johnson's wax.
You know, Mr. Wilcox, I was wondering if Johnson's wax wouldn't do something for that frame.
She was wondering. 9 years of this, and she's still wondering.
Why, Molly, it would be just the thing. Johnson's wax is great for picture frames and windowsills, lampshades, and dozens of things besides floors and furniture and woodwork.
I guess that picture frame just got out of condition from lying around in a closet all this time, huh?
Here's where we get that seals the pores stuff.
That's probably it, Molly. But Johnson's wax seals the pores of wood surfaces.
What'd I tell you?
And it protects it not only from drying out, but from dampness as well. You try a little Johnson's wax on that frame, Molly, and Aunt Sarah will be so pleased she'll leave you an extra $1 million in her will.
Oh, that never entered my mind, Mr. Wilcox.
It entered mine, baby. It entered, sat down, and smoked a 4-bit cigar.
I take it Aunt Sarah is fairly solvent.
Yes, she is, Mr. Wilcox, I think.
Solvent? That old false face has got a nest egg you could use for a flint. The only trouble is she's so tight.
Now, McGee, she isn't tight. She's just thrifty.
Oh, yeah? Remember that last car she bought? The salesman said it would stop on a dime, and Aunt Sarah had the brakes wore out in 2 hours?
What are you so bitter about, pal? What did she ever do to you?
She never did a thing to him, Mr. Wilcox.
I just don't like stingy people, that's all, Junior.
Oh, say, that reminds me. How about a little donation for Sam Moore? He's in the hospital with a fractured hand.
Fractured hand?
Yeah, from squeezing the hose at a filling station.
Why should I throw dough away on that guy? I hardly know him. Why didn't he have some insurance?
Okay, pal. I just wanted to suggest it. Well, so long, Molly. My love to Aunt Sarah.
Yes, sir. You know, Molly, really, that woman is so tight. You know, she's so tight she has to walk slow or she heats up.
Is this Sam Moore a friend of yours?
Oh, I've known him for several years. You know, one of these days, Aunt Sarah's going to go on a spending spree, and the country's going to be flooded with 30 or 40 Indian pennies.
Look, McGee, if you can stop ranting about how tight Aunt Sarah is, you might realize that you're about as open-handed as Joe Louis in Round One yourself.
What you mean?
I mean, you call other people stingy, but when you're asked to throw a little money on the drum for a sick friend, you cool off like a night watchman's coffee.
Why, Molly, do you mean to say that my refusal to detract from Sam Moore's self-respect by giving him charity might be construed as stinginess?
It will not only be construed as stinginess, dearie, but the word will flash around the cigar stores that Fibber McGee is the back end of an Oxford.
You mean a heel?
Yes.
Hand me my check.
Here, and while you do that, I'll run upstairs and look over the spare bedroom so Aunt Sarah will be coming.
Okay. There goes a good kid. Lots of family loyalty there. Won't listen to a word against Aunt Sarah, even when she knows she's an old miser. Not that Aunt Sarah's unpleasant to be around. She always smells slightly of mint. Come in.
Hi, mister.
Oh, hello there. Say, how old are you, sis?
6, going on 6.5.
6 years old, huh?
Mm-hmm.
How many years is it you've been dropping in here to visit with us?
9 years. It's a wonderful world we're living in, isn't it, mister?
It sure is, sis. Wonderful world. And you realize I don't even know your name?
I know it.
Well, what is it?
Ridiculous.
I mean, what is your name?
Oh, Teeny.
Teeny, huh? I says your name is Teeny.
I know it.
Odd name.
Why?
Oh, I don't know. You don't hear it very often, is all. Named after somebody in the family?
No.
Huh? Well, what is it, just a nickname?
I guess so. When I was a little baby, my daddy called me Martini, and then they just started calling me Teeny, I guess.
Oh. Why did your daddy call you Martini? Why'd your daddy call you Martini when you were a baby?
He said I was never dry enough to suit him.
Yes, I see. Never mind. How'd you get your stockings all torn like that?
I fell down. Mr. Underwood was chasing me and Willie Toops.
Willie Toops and me?
Gee, what was he chasing you for?
He wasn't chasing me. What was he chasing you and Willie for?
We rang his doorbell by mistake.
What do you mean by mistake?
We thought he was upstairs, but he wasn't.
Now, you look here, sis. Mr. Underwood's a fine man. Maybe a little too dignified, but a fine man. You know, he used to be United States Minister to Venezuela.
Oh, I bet you he was, and I bet you he wears a necktie.
No, you're thinking of another kind of minister, sis. I mean, he used to represent our country in Venezuela.
Oh?
Now, then you treat him with a little more respect, you understand?
Sure. What'd you say he was, mister?
Our minister to Venezuela. Minister. Just keep that in mind.
Okay, minister.
Yeah, that's it. Now, when you learn a new word like that, Teeny, you try to use it till you get used to it.
Oh?
Yeah. After that, the word is a regular part of your constabulary.
Vocabulary.
Yeah. Now, you think you know how to use the word properly?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead, use it.
Okay. It is now 20 minutes to 3, and I gotta scram home. So long, mister.
The King's Men singing Sure Thing.
Every tip I follow on a pony turns out to be a phony. They don't come in. At bridge, I'm just a dummy. I lose my shirt at rummy. But now I've got a hunch I'll win. Sometime, somehow, I'm sure I found a sure thing in you. Something within tells me we'll win. Somewhere my heart has picked you out of the blue. And since I'm only a beginner, a winner I'll be. But win or lose, whatever comes up, your thumb's up with me. One thing I'm sure of all my life through. If love can figure out a sure thing, that sure thing is you, baby. Sure, baby. When the chips are down, you and I together ought to wow 'em. Sound. I know a sure thing when I see it. Pretty baby. Somehow I'm sure I found a sure thing in you. Something within tells me we'll win. Somewhere my heart has picked you out of the blue. And since I'm only a beginner, a winner I'll be. But win or lose, whatever comes up, your thumb's wound up with me. One thing I'm sure of all my life through. If love can figure out a sure thing, that sure thing is not the weather. It ain't them bums, the Dodgers. It ain't next quarter's taxes. It's you.
There. How's that, Molly? It's very nice, dearie, but isn't it a little crooked? Push the bottom of the picture to the left.
It's too far that way now. It needs to go this way.
No, McGee, that's way off.
What do you mean way off? That's perfectly level.
Why, you tips like a counterfeiter in a nightclub.
Well, what'll you bet?
We'll prove it by Beulah.
Okay.
Oh, Beulah!
Somebody ball for Beulah?
Yeah, take a look at this picture, Beulah. Does it look on the level to you?
No, sir. I think the artist was kidding.
Now, we mean, is it hanging straight, Beulah?
It look okay to me, ma'am. Besides, it don't matter much. Every time a truck go by, every picture in the house go caught out anyway.
Well, I guess you're not much of a consultant on dynamic balance, Beulah. You got no sense of symmetry.
No, sir, but that would be a real good place for it.
What would be a good place for what?
The symmetry would be a good place for that picture. I'm telling you, that's the deadest looking picture I ever did see.
Good idea. We'll stick the ace, king, and queen of spades in the frame and bury it with simple honors.
Buried with simple honors. Look at Love that man.
Well, that's all we wanted to know, Beulah. Thank you. Incidentally, you knew my Aunt Sarah was coming tomorrow for a visit, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am. I overhear Mr. McGee talking to himself about it. Now I know why they call it profanity. It ain't nothing for amateurs to monkey with.
McGee.
Oh, well, shucks.
By the way, Beulah, you don't mind cooking for one extra for a while, do you?
Oh, no, ma'am. I like to cook. Yeah, in fact, I'd love it if it wasn't so...
It wasn't so what?
Oh, so daily.
Well, I don't think you'll find Aunt Sarah much trouble, Beulah. She's a very light eater.
She's a very light giver, too, Beulah. So if you're expecting her to slip you a couple of bucks when she leaves, forget it. When it comes to money, Aunt Sarah's clutch grabs.
I don't expect anything, sir. How old a lady is she?
Well, now, what would you judge her age was from her portrait, Beulah?
Yeah.
Well, offhand, ma'am, I'd say... Beulah, you fool, keep quiet. Excuse me, ma'am, I gotta get this.
Incidentally, how old is Aunt Sarah?
Well, she claims she was Admiral Dewey's godmother, dearie, so draw your own conclusions.
Probably attended the Boston Tea Party disguised as a slice of lemon. I always suppose...
Oh, dear, Aunt Sarah's picture fell down again.
Well, it's just like the old war horse. Never know when she's going to drop in on you. I think I'll just get a couple of 10-penny nails and put them right...
Come in. Hello, Dr. Gamble.
Hello, Molly. Hello, Ambitious. Hello, Butcher Boy. What are you wandering around town for? Medical Association finally catch up with you?
No, I'm still fooling them. But I was coming past the telegraph office, and they said there was a telegram for you.
Oh.
Knowing as I do how much those kids can use a 2-bit tip, I thought I'd save them the disappointment of not getting one from you. Here.
That was very nice of you, Doctor. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you ought to give up your medical practice and deliver telegrams all the time, Doc. That way you could give people a lot of bad news without being personally responsible for it.
Medicine is more interesting, McGee.
Mm-hmm.
You can deliver a telegram whenever you get around to it, but a baby won't wait.
McGee.
Huh?
Look, the telegram is from Aunt Sarah. She's not coming.
Who's Aunt Sarah?
Oh, you wouldn't know her, Doc. She's healthy. Why isn't she coming, Molly?
She says there are some investments she has to keep an eye on. It's impossible for her to...
Oh, good heavens, what did I step on?
Doggone you, you clumsy oaf. You put your foot right through Aunt Sarah's portrait.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry I didn't see it there on the floor.
Oh, forget it, Doctor. It was only a...
What do you mean you're sorry? You big hayfoot.
Yeah, but
You think you can come busting into people's houses and start kicking priceless works of art around and get away with it by saying I'm sorry?
But my dear boy, I assure you...
Don't dear boy me, you silly astigmatic ox. My gosh, the only picture we had in the world of Aunt Sarah. And you...
Oh, McGee, for goodness sakes, you know very well.
I know very well that if Aunt Sarah knew we'd done this to her picture, it would break her heart. Poor lonely old soul.
Why, I thought of as much of that portrait as I did of Aunt Sarah herself. All right. I told you I'm sorry. What do you want me to do? Dig up Da Vinci and tell him to fix it?
When I think of those dart games in the basement...
What good does it do to say I'm sorry, you big pachyderm? Does that restore this valuable work of art? Does that calm the feelings of a dear, sweet old lady who trusted us with the things she loved most in the world? This priceless painting. Why, gee whiz.
Oh, stop it, will you? Here's $50. Get it restored, but stop moaning about it. If it costs any more, let me know. Good day.
Why, McGee, how could you ever? What's so funny?
$50. Imagine that. We finally got some dough out of Aunt Sarah.
This is
Do you spend much time in your kitchen? You probably realize the importance of well-protected linoleum floors. When they're bright and sparkling, the kitchen is certainly a much pleasanter place to work in. That in itself is a good enough reason for using Johnson's self-polishing glow coat. And yet, that's only a very small part of the glow coat story. A more important reason is, of course, the way glow coat protects linoleum surfaces against wear and dirt, how it makes linoleum last 6 to 10 times longer. Another is the way glow coat saves you work. Because it's self-polishing, it needs no rubbing or buffing. You simply apply and let dry. Glow coat does the rest. Even on linoleum that's been down for many years, glow coat works wonders. And if you're putting down any new linoleum, then be sure that from the very first day, it's protected regularly with Johnson's self-polishing glow coat.
McGee, you've got to give that $50 back to Dr. Gamble.
Oh, I will after next week. He's giving me a complete physical examination next week, you know.
So what?
A complete physical examination like I'm going to have costs at least $20.
Yes.
You think he's going to have the crust to charge me a double sawbuck while he still thinks he's ruined a valuable portrait?
Why, McGee, you're a rascally little opportunist.
Ain't I, though? Good night.
Good night, all.
The character of Mr. Wellington heard on this program was played by Ransom Sherman. This is Harlow Wilcox, speaking for the makers of Johnson's Wax for home and industry, and inviting you all to be with us again next Tuesday night. Good night.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
The Johnson Wax program with Fibber McGee and Molly. The makers of Johnson's Wax for home and industry present Fibber McGee and Molly, written by Don Quinn with music by the King's Men and Billy Mills Orchestra. Here's a question that's going to sound funny to you, coming from me. Have you ever been dissatisfied with Johnson's self-polishing glow coat? Yes, that's just what I mean, dissatisfied. Have you ever bought a supply of Johnson's glow coat that didn't do the good job on your linoleum that you expected it to do? Now, the reason I ask you this question is this. We receive hundreds of voluntary letters from women who say glow coat is wonderful. Well, we're deeply grateful for those letters, but we sometimes wonder if we really are that good. It's only human to make mistakes. And during this critical war period, it has been a little more difficult to control materials and containers. So I'd just like to say this. If you've had any experience with Johnson's self-polishing glow coat that has not been entirely satisfactory, we'd like to hear about it. We'll gladly replace any package that did not give you satisfactory service. You can send your letter direct to S.C. Johnson & Son, Racine, Wisconsin, or Brantford, Canada. We always want you to be happy with every purchase you make of glow coat or any other Johnson product. The way some people are acting at 79 Wistful Vista, you'd think the three most important dates in American history were 1492, 1776, and the one Alice Darling has with her new boyfriend tonight, as we meet Fibber McGee and Molly.
Would it be too much to ask, dearie, for you to slip into a clean shirt and put your shoes on? Those carpet slippers look pretty disreputable.
Why, who's coming?
Alice's boyfriend, and you look awful. Your shirt is mussed, there's cigar ashes on your vest, and altogether you look like a picnic tablecloth on the way home.
Oh, Alice's boyfriend. Let's not get our teeth in an uproar just because that kid has snared a patsy for a hunk of rug cutting. I just got one more word to do on this crossword puzzle, and I'll have it.
Where are you stuck?
32 vertical.
Let's see, an 8-letter word meaning gubernatorial executive.
Oh, is that what that is? Ooh, that's gubernatorial.
Yeah. Why, that's simple. Don't you know what gubernatorial means?
Well, roughly, a goober is a peanut. An executive means to execute somebody. So it's an 8-letter word meaning somebody who kills a lot of peanuts. Oh, I know, baseball fan. Oh, no. Too many letters.
Look, dearie, the word is governor. A governor is a gubernatorial executive.
Oh, that can't be right. Governor starts with G. This word has got to start with J on account of 56 horizontal.
Well, what's 56 horizontal?
That's a 7-letter word meaning real. I got that down as genuine.
Genuine, my pet, starts with G and not J.
Can't start with G. That throws the entire puzzle off. See, it's got to be J because 19 vertical is a 5-letter word meaning a flat-bottom boat. B-A-R-J-E, barge.
I know, but barge is not spelled with a J.
Doggone it, now you spoiled the whole puzzle. And I had it all done with one word. Okay. Shucks. What was it you wanted me to do?
Run upstairs and brush up a little. We don't want Alice's boyfriend to think...
Who's that?
I'm afraid it's Alice's boyfriend. And you looking like an unmade bed.
Oh, gee whiz, can I help you?
Yes, dear?
Desperate, will you let him in, please?
Don't worry, Alice. We'll entertain him until you get your face on.
Well, if you just let him in, you won't have to entertain him. I'll be right down.
Smooth down your cowlick and straighten your tie, dearie. Here comes romance.
Is this where Alice... I mean, does the residence... Is the house where...
Are you Bert?
I think so. Yeah, I'm Bert.
Come right in, Bert. Alice will be down in just a minute. We're Mr. and Mrs. McGee, and Alice is expecting you.
Oh, thank you.
Relax, Bud. Unbend. Just between us males, Alice has been ready since 3:30 this afternoon, but you know how women are. They got to put on the old act, you know. They'll keep you waiting if they have to go hide in the phone booth.
That's ridiculous, McGee. Alice just came home from the airplane plant a while ago. Come in and sit down, Mr.
Bert Taylor. Just call me Bert. Alice has often mentioned you both.
She has, eh? What does she say about us, Bert?
Oh, she says you, well, you're the type that, well, if you'd only, well, I don't remember exactly, but it was something.
Well, that's a fairly safe summary of the conversation. Oh, here's Alice. Oh, doesn't she look nice?
Gee, hi, Al.
Hi, Bert.
Hey, you do look pretty snappy, Alice.
Well, if Mr. and Mrs. McGee will excuse us, I think we can
certainly run along and have fun.
Oh, don't rush away, kids. You're not putting us out a bit. Sit down a minute and relax. Looks like a rainy night anyway. Might as well sit here by the fire where there's no cover charge. Ever play four-handed dominoes?
No,
Bert and I are going someplace to dance, Mr. McGee.
Why, what's the matter with right here? My gosh, roll up the carpets and turn on the radio. Everything for free. Molly and I might knock off a round or two ourselves, huh?
Include me out, Jenny.
Huh?
Until I started going to dances with you, I never knew that shindig was 2 words.
Well, I thought maybe Alice and I'd go downtown and maybe go to a nightclub. Gee, you look nice in girls' clothes, Alice.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bert.
What does he mean, girls' clothes?
Well, Bert's never seen me in anything but my coveralls at the airplane plant, Mr. McGee. I think they make girls look so horribly masculine.
Oh, you're as feminine as a lost glove.
Heavenly days, it's getting stormy.
Oh, we don't care, do we, Alice? Come on, let's...
Oh, I love rainy nights myself. Let's go, Bert.
Hey, you can't go out in this. Catch your death of cold between here and the curb. Bert, you ought to have more sense than drag a fragile kid like Alice out in the weather like this.
Well, it did sound sort of like a thunderburst. Cloud storm. Oh, gee, I didn't realize...
I don't mind a bit. Come on, it'll be fun. We'll just dash out to your car.
Oh, yeah, but, well, I didn't bring my car because... Well, I just got enough gas to get me to work and back.
Oh, what do we care? Let's take a cab.
A cab? Did you ever try to get a taxi in this town on a clear night? Well, divide that by 4 million, and that's your chances of getting one in the rain.
Come on, hang up your coats and spend the evening right here.
We'd love to have you stay, you know that.
Sure. Save you a lot of dough, too. You know about that 30% federal tip in the hot spots, don't you? You heard about that, didn't you, Charlie?
His name is Bert, Mr. McGee.
I thought it was Charlie. You're always talking about
McGee. McGee, the boy's name is Bert, and he's the one Alice is always talking about.
No, Molly, she's always
Well,
talking about
maybe we better stay in there. We'd rather go out
Billy Mills and the orchestra play Poinciana.
Sure is wonderful to be sitting here all cozy and warm with rain coming down like that. Don't it? You sure you're comfortable in that straight chair, Alice? Don't you want to sit here on the Davenport with me and Bert and Molly?
No, thanks. I like this straight chair. It keeps me awake.
Well, it's too bad the rain spoils your evening, Alice.
Yeah. What do you mean, spoiled it? They're having a swell time. We've been through the photograph albums twice. I told Bert all about how I fought in the last war and showed him a high school annual.
You haven't showed Bert how you can take off your vest without removing your coat, Mr. McGee.
I'm saving that, Alice, in case the party got dull.
In that case, you should have showed us an hour ago, McGee.
I'll say so.
Why don't we run along upstairs, McGee? We'd both like to read in bed, and let's leave Alice and Bert to themselves.
Oh, Mrs. McGee, you're so thoughtful.
Yeah, sure are.
Forget it, kids. I've seen the time when I'd love to have somebody like me around to entertain me, too. Well, what do we do, kids? How about a game of cards? Who plays flinch?
Bert and I like to play records on the phonograph, but maybe it would bore you and Mrs. McGee unless you were upstairs where you couldn't hear them or something.
Yeah. Let's play some records.
You don't want to listen to records. My gosh, you've heard all that classical stuff 100 times. How about me showing you some card tricks? I got a swell card trick, but I got to have a rubber band. Anybody got a rubber band? Nobody got a rubber band. I suppose that...
Come in. Oh, for goodness sakes, Mr. Wellington, what are you doing out on a night like this?
I am breaking in some new overshoes for a friend, Mrs. McGee. Here's the... Oh, excuse me. Am I intruding?
Oh, no more than usual, Siggy. You know Alice Darling, I think.
Hello, Mr. Wellington.
Good evening. And may I say that I prefer the way she is listed on our bank night records at the Bijou Theater as Darling Miss?
Oh, go pile up some dead leaves, you old rake.
McGee, now don't be so rude. By the way, Mr. Wellington, this is Mr. Taylor, a friend of Miss Darling.
Hello, lad.
Hello.
What can we do for you, Mr. Wellington?
I just came in to see if by any chance McGee could spare, for a brief time, of course, the umbrella he borrowed from me in 1936. Not that I wish to appear to be snatching it back, you understand.
My gosh, Dick, that umbrella was worn out and threw away long ago.
Including, I suppose, the 14-karat gold handle?
No, McGee had that made into a walking stick the time he sprained his ankle.
Be glad to loan you that, Wellington, but it wouldn't be much help in the rain, except to see how deep the puddles were.
Yes. Well, just an inquiry, you know. Charge it off to mere morbid curiosity, if you wish.
Yeah, we will.
Won't you sit down a while, Mr. Wellington?
Thank you, no. I have been sitting down all afternoon.
Office work?
Roller skating. Well, good evening, friend.
My, isn't he nice?
Yeah, he's okay, but too collegiate if you ask me. He's always telling... Hey, you kids, don't do that.
What are they doing, McGee?
All huddled up together like that on the Davenport. My gosh, you don't have to sit so close together. There's plenty of chairs. Here, Bert, you sit over here by the desk. That's it. Alice, how about a nice sofa cushion on the floor? Ah, that's better. There's room for everybody.
Has it occurred to you, dearie, that Alice and Bert might want a minute or two alone together?
Gee, I was hoping...
Minute or two alone, my clavicle. What they need on a night like this is people around them. Laughter, fun, gaiety. Has anybody got a rubber band?
Wow, what a night. Hello, folks. I just thought Oh, excuse me. I didn't know you had company tonight.
Well, you know Alice, Mr. Wilcox.
Hello, Mr. Wilcox.
Hello, Alice.
And this is Bert Taylor, Jr.
Hello, Bert.
He's Alice's swain who stayed in tonight because it's swaining. You get it, kids? Swaining? The humor's derived from the fact that play on words...
Ain't funny, McGee.
I thought it was rather excruciating in a sad sort of way.
What on earth are you doing out on a night like this, Mr. Wilcox?
Well, I usually bring my dog out for a walk about this time every night, but I wouldn't bring a dog out on a night like this, so I came along. I saw your light and I thought I'd drop in.
Drip would be a better word, Mr. Wilcox. Take off that wet coat.
No, thanks, Molly. I've got to run along.
I'll bet the real reason you're walking, Junior, is you don't want to get that new car of yours all rained on.
Have you got a new car, Mr. Wilcox?
No, I haven't. What on earth gave you the idea that... Oh, I know.
He knows.
Why, I used some Johnson's car new on it this afternoon. It just looks new.
Well, put some gum on my chair and call me Wrigley. I gave him an opening he could drive Eugene Palette through.
What's Johnson's car new, Mr. Wilcox?
It's an automobile polish, isn't it, Mr. Wilcox?
An automobile polish. It's the automobile polish for car owners who want an easy-to-use, fast method of beautifying their cars. Cleans and polishes in one easy application.
People who have cars really have to nurse them along nowadays, don't they, Mr. Wilcox?
They sure do, Molly. That's why car new is such a blessing. It's so fast. It does such a thorough job. You just apply it, let it dry, and wipe it off, and presto, the gleam of your dreams.
How do you spell car new, Mr. Wilcox?
Stooge.
It's spelled C-A-R-N-U. Johnson's car new.
Do you have to be going, Mr. Wilcox?
Yes, Molly, I really do. I've got to meet a woman at Kramer's drugstore.
Uh-oh, what'll your wife say?
She'll say hello.
Oh.
Good night now.
He's a nice guy. Who is he?
Well, he represents the Johnson Wax people, Mr. Taylor. He drops in on us almost every Tuesday night.
Yeah. On a sort of an or-else basis. Hey, hasn't anybody got a rubber band? I'd sure like to show you kids this car trick. It's pretty baffling. Hey, Molly, isn't there a rubber band in the desk?
That desk is so full of stamps, nobody could find anything in it.
Oh, you collect stamps, Mr. McGee?
No, I don't, Bert.
When he heard that the airmail rate was going from 6 cents to 8 cents, he went all around town like a whirlwind buying up all the 6-cent stamps. But at that, it was more intelligent than most of his investments.
Oh, yeah. Well, I caught the spy, didn't I?
Mr. McGee, will you show us your photograph album again, please?
Gee, Al, he's shown it to us twice.
Well, there's nothing as fascinating as a bunch of home-took photographs. Here you are, kids.
Let's see the ones on page 17.
What's on page 17? Oh, yes. Those are the ones of McGee and me in the canoe.
Just you two alone together. Isn't that wonderful, Bert?
Oh, boy, wouldn't it be, though?
There's nothing like getting away from people when you're young and in love, is there, Molly?
No, there isn't. So let's go upstairs and read and leave Alice and Bert.
Hey, I got a better idea. How about making some fudge?
Oh, fudge. Fudge?
Gee, that's a peach of an idea, Mr. McGee. That's super. Come on, Bert, let's you and I go out in the kitchen and make fun.
Oh, swell.
When you get it done, bring us some.
What do you mean when they get it done? We'll all go out and make fun. Many hands make light work, you know. Come on, everybody, let's all go. Hey, I hear somebody out in the kitchen.
I thought I heard something out there, too. Who's in the kitchen?
Just me, ma'am, Beulah.
We thought you'd gone home long ago, Beulah.
No, sir, I started to go, and then it begun to rain real hard, and I thought I'd better wait a while on account of my rheumatiz.
Count of your what?
On account of my rheumatiz.
Tism, Beulah.
Oh, yes, it is, ma'am. Beg your pardon. See, my doctor says genuine rheumatiz, and he's one of the finest dying nasturtiums in this town.
You mean you've just been sitting in the kitchen waiting for the rain to stop, Beulah?
Yes, but I've been listening to the radio out there, Miss Alice. Those Burns and Allen, the cutest people.
Hey, Beulah, you got a rubber band? I got a great card trick if I could only find a rubber band. You got a rubber band?
No, sir, all I got is a long piece of elastic.
Oh, well, let me take it. I'll cut off a short length.
I'm sorry, sir. Nobody ain't gonna cut nothing off this piece of elastic. You see, where I got it, I need every inch of it, including the stretch.
Well, looks like you kids are going to have to wait till after the war to see this card trick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I love card tricks. Can anybody tell fortunes?
I can't.
For me either.
I used to tell fortunes in coffee ground, Mr. McGee.
Well, don't you still do it, Beulah?
No, sir. Coffee ground is so much alike and make everybody's life too monotonous.
You better take up tea leaves, Beulah. Grab an orange pico into the future.
Grab an orange pico into the future? Love that man. Well, good night, everybody.
The King's Men sing The Enchilada Man.
I know a quaint little guy with an eye for business. He's not the peanutty man. This little guy has a cry that will wake the dead. He's not the popcorny man. He has a cart with an article so delicious. He's not the donutty man. He's wearing a smile. He's barrels of fun. There couldn't be two. There could only be one. Hear him come along. Hear his little song. Buy an enchilada. Nothing on his feet, patches on his seat. Try an enchilada. It's a silly whim patronizing him, but you really gotta. Who's the man in question spreading indigestion? He's the enchilada man. He ought to be in the opera with his enchilada, la-la-la, enchilada, la-la-la. He's much too good for the opera with his get one a fresh enchilada rhapsody. Dee-dee-di-do-do, dee-dee-di-do-day. Better be on time, bring along a dime. Everybody's got one. See the people laugh, see them bet and have. I've sure got a hot one. See them disappear, soon there will be not one. Everybody took them, he'll get more and cook them. He's the enchilada man. When he has big ones, he shouts enchiladas. But when he has little ones, he whispers enchiladas, enchiladas, enchiladas. Now he's on his way, come another day. Aren't you glad you bought one? He's the man in question spreading indigestion. He's the enchilada man. Here's the moral and the coda. Better run and get the soda after buying enchiladas from the happy enchilada man.
Sure wish I could find a rubber band. You'd love this card trick, I do. I picked it up from a magician when I was in vaudeville. Did I happen to mention I was in vaudeville once, Bert?
No, I guess that's one thing you didn't mention.
I think we better be getting upstairs, McGee. Alice and Bert, you want to talk.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. McGee. You're
What do you
very...
mean they want to talk? Didn't you just hear Bert ask me about the time I was in vaudeville?
No.
Don't you want to hear about the time I was in vaudeville, Bert?
Well,
Why, certainly. One of the most interesting periods of the American theater. Well, sir, a guy and I by the name of Fibber McGee had us a vaudeville act that really stood out.
Yeah, stood outside of agents' offices every day but Sunday.
Well, we were ahead of our time, was all. You see, Bert, me and Fred had an act of fast patter songs and dances. Fred would enter on the vamp with a bucking wing through the center door fancy, see?
Ah, saved from a life of vaudeville. This may not be the palace, but it's home. Come in.
Is this the residence of Mr. and Mrs. Fibber McGee?
Yes, it is, Bud. What can we do for you?
Well, I hope I'm not intruding on your privacy. I am Mr. Witchett, Robert Witchett.
Oh, well, how do you do, I'm sure. And this is Miss Darling and Mr. Taylor, Mr. Witchett.
How do you do?
Hiya, Mr. Witchett.
I'm really pleased to meet you. But the name isn't Witchett, Mrs. McGee. It's Witchett. You know, as in Witchett the Lion-Hearted.
Oh, Richard. Oh, I get it. Robert Richards.
No, not Robert. Robert. You know, it's like Robert Louis Stevenson.
Oh, sure, of course, Robert Richards.
Yeah, that's correct.
What's on your mind, Mr. Richards?
Well, I live in the house across the street, and I thought I'd stop in and report that you left your lawnmower on the lawn in the lane and it's getting all rusty.
Oh, thank you very much. McGee, run out and put the lawnmower in the garage.
What do you mean, run out? In this weather? That isn't my lawnmower anyway. I just borrowed it from Doc Gamble.
Nevertheless, it's getting awfully rusty.
Well, thank you for telling us, Mr. Richards. Say, are you the people who just moved in a few days ago?
Yes, ma'am. We moved here from Grand Rapids. I work in the airplane plant.
Why, so do I, Mr. Richards. Maybe I can ride out there with you in your car.
Oh, I'd be delighted, Miss Darling. They'll be delighted.
What do you do at the airplane plant, Mr. Richards?
I'm a draftsman. I make blueprints. May I ask, what do you do for a living, Mr. McGee?
I was afraid somebody was going to ask me that sometime.
Well, he's connected with the Johnson Wax people, Mr. Richards. Won't you sit down till the weather clears a little?
Oh, thank you. I don't believe I can, Mrs. McGee. I just went over to tell you about the lawnmower. Good night.
Well, he seems like a nice little man, doesn't he?
Yeah, very neighborly. Glad to know about that lawnmower, too. I'll run out in the morning and throw a canvas over it, too.
What good'll that do? It'll be all rusty by that time.
I know, but if Doc Gamble comes by and sees it, it won't hurt his feelings. He's very sensitive about that lawnmower. Hey, what are you yawning about?
Well, I'd say it was because I'm sleepy. You'd better go to bed, too. Remember, you're painting the porch swing tomorrow.
Oh, my gosh, here we invited these kids to stay, and if we go to bed, who'll entertain them?
Oh, don't you worry about us, Mr. McGee.
Oh, we'll be all right. I can't stay much longer anyway.
You're sure?
Of course they're sure, McGee. Now, come along.
Hey, wait a minute. I never finished telling Bert about my vaudeville act. You see, Bert...
McGee, come on.
Oh, okay. Well, good night, kids. If you want something to read, help yourself to either of the books in the bookcase.
Thank you, Mr. McGee. Good night.
Good night. Good night, Mr. Taylor. No, don't get up.
Good night.
Good night, kids. Gee whiz, Molly, I feel like a dog running out on them like this.
Oh, boy.
Oh, turn off the light, Bert, and let's just sit here by the fire.
Oh, that'll be swell, Alice.
They're nice, aren't they, Bert?
Oh, she's swell, but he's a gabby old clunk. Oh, well, it's okay now. Gee, your hair smells nice.
Oh, I'm glad you think so, Bert. And Bert, please don't squeeze my hand so hard. If I had a ring on one of these fingers, it would really hurt with you squeezing like that.
Oh, speaking of rings, Alice,
Yes, Bert?
I was wondering if you, well...
Hey, I got it. McGee, come back here. Hey, kids, look what I found. A rubber band. Now, I'll show you a card trick that'll make your eyes pop.
Oh, for the...
Okay, Bert, pick out a card. Go on, any card, any card. I'll take the deck and pick out a card. Any card you like.
I'd like to talk to you for a moment about your automobile. If you've taken a good look at it lately, you realize it's not getting any younger. You probably get a little tired of hearing so many people tell you to take good care of that car. But after all, both from a patriotic and a selfish point of view, it's still the thing to do, isn't it? That's probably reason number one for getting some Johnson's Car New that cleans and polishes in one application after that dull-looking finish. Or maybe with you, the number one reason is the looks of your car and the greater pleasure you get out of it when the finish shines like a mirror. With Johnson's Car New, you can't make over the motor or put on new tires, but believe me, you can restore the beauty of your car's finish. And you can do it with so little work that cleaning and polishing a car with Car New is just as easy for a woman as for a man. Johnson's Carnew is a liquid. It dries to a white powder, and off comes the dullness when you wipe off the powder. Now is a very good time to give the finish of your car a spring cleaning with Johnson's Carnew, spelled C-A-R-N-U.
Well, McGee, you used very bad judgment tonight.
What do you mean?
Don't you realize that two young people like that want to be alone with each other? They don't want middle-aged people like us cramping their style.
Oh, they were having a wonderful time. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Bert signal to Alice that he was getting an awful bang out of me.
How did he signal?
He jerked his left thumb at me while pretending to shoot himself in the right temple.
Ah, well, go to sleep, dearie.
Okay, good night.
Good night, all.
The character of Mr. Wellington heard on this program was played by Ransom Sherman. This is Harlow Wilcox, speaking for the makers of Johnson's Wax for Home and Industry, and inviting you all to be with us again next Tuesday night. Good night.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
The Johnson Wax program with Fibber McGee and Molly. The makers of Johnson's Wax for Home and Industry present Fibber McGee and Molly, written by Don Quinn with music by the King's Men and Billy Mills Orchestra. How many extra uses are there for wax, anyway? Well, almost every week somebody writes in to tell us a new one. I'm looking at a letter now that comes from a man in the drapery business. He writes, tell your friends this about Johnson's Wax. When their drapery rods don't work right, just rub on a little Johnson's paste wax and they'll slide like new with no grease to spot fine fabrics. Wax is much better than soap or candle tallow because it won't become gummy or sticky. This would save people like me making unnecessary service calls. Well, now, if your drapery rods don't work smoothly, why not try this suggestion? And while you have your Johnson's Wax out, put some on your picture frames and lampshades, your metal ornaments, and especially on your windowsills. Johnson's Wax protects the finish of woodwork and furniture just as it protects your floors, at the same time saving you work and making your home more beautiful. The glowing wax film itself takes the wear, and the surface underneath is safe. Johnson's Wax is available in three forms: paste, liquid, and cream wax. Around the average house, there are enough petty details to drive an ordinary man to ginger ale. For instance, take a look at the daily schedule of the Squire of 79 Wistful Vista. 8 a.m., out of bed, wash face, brush teeth. 9 o'clock, breakfast, read paper. 9:30, back to bed. 10 o'clock, up again, shave, shower, dress, do crossword puzzle, smoke half cigar, work on ship in bottle, take short nap, decide not to mow lawn. 10:30, scold wife for laundry not being back. No clean shirt. 10:31, wife says laundry's been back 3 days. 10:32, decide to wear sweatshirt and old flannel pants anyway. 10:33 is where we join Fibber McGee and Molly.
Gosh, if I was smart, I'd get up early in the morning and dash down to the Elks Club. Stick around here and everybody finds a job for me to do, morning till night. Work, 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 slave my hands off, work, work, work. Same old thing every day. Never a minute's relaxation.
What's anybody asked you to do today, dearie?
Well, everybody that, huh? Oh, there's been a dozens of things. You keep asking me to do stuff that can just as well wait till tomorrow.
Such as?
Well, such as... Well, didn't you ask me to do something while we were having breakfast?
Yes, I did. I asked you to put the cover back on the sugar bowl.
You see what I mean? Work, work, work. One chore after another. All day long. Gee whiz. Hey, who let Beulah in this morning? I thought we didn't have any extra keys.
Oh, well, Beulah stopped and had some extra ones made.
Oh.
Here's 3 of them. Now put them away someplace where you'll be able to find them.
Oh, fine, thanks. Okay. Hey, Molly, did you stop at the bank yesterday and get the dough for the FHA?
Yes, it's in the desk. 3 nice new $10 bills. If you're going downtown, you can stop and make the payment.
That's fine, I will. I gotta get my gun repaired anyway.
What gun?
This old hog leg of Uncle Sycamore's. The one he used in the Texas Rangers.
Heavenly days, put that blockbuster away before I go back to kindergarten.
Huh? What do you mean, go back to kindergarten?
Well, every time I see that pistol, it scares me out of 10 years' growth, and I've seen it 4 times. That's 40 years.
Oh, it won't shoot. The trigger's busted. Museum piece. It's historic.
Yeah?
Uncle Sycamore fought the Indians with this.
Well, he didn't take very good care of it. There's 10 or 12 nicks in the handle.
Those are notches. Every time Uncle Sycamore would kill a man, he'd cut a notch in his gun butt.
You mean Uncle Sycamore killed 12 men?
Yep. All in one day, too.
Heavenly days, who were they?
They were members of a jury that convicted him of horse stealing.
So he added murder to larceny?
Not at all. They sentenced him to be hung, so he got it. It was his life or theirs. Self-defense. The law of the Old West. He told me that one time when he was...
Oh, hello, Alice.
Hi, Alice.
Hello. Has anybody called? Jeepers, Mr. McGee, where'd you get the gun?
Belonged to my Uncle Sycamore, Alice. Old Indian fighter in Texas Rangers.
He was killed when his gun jammed, daughter.
Yeah.
The coroner's verdict was hardening of the artillery.
Great old guy, Uncle Sycamore. Kind of a Robin Hood of the border. Used to rob the rich cattlemen and give the money to the poor sheepherder. What you might call blameless burglary.
You mean it was a stainless steel?
Oh, Alice.
Well, if Bert should call, which I doubt, will you let me know, Mr. McGee?
Certainly, Alice. Are you going to bed now?
Yes, but I'm afraid I won't be able to sleep much. The sun is so bright and I forgot to get a new sleep mask. This one is all bent and torn.
Sleep mask?
Uh-huh.
Is that what that thing is?
Yeah.
Sleep mask. Looks like one of those false faces you wear to a macaroon.
You don't mean macaroon, dear. You mean masquerade.
I don't any such a thing. Masquerade is that black lipstick a woman puts on her eyelashes. Stuff that makes her look like she spent the day shoveling coal.
No, Mr. McGee, that's mascara.
What are you gals doing? Give me the old razzmatazz. Mascara is the capital of Russia.
McGee, that's Moscow.
Well, then, doggone it, what's a macaroon?
It's a small cake or cookie.
Of course it is, and they always serve them at masquerade, so what are you trying to hand me? Well, this is a sleep mask, eh?
Yes, dearie. Those are for people who have to sleep in the daytime. Keeps the light off of the eyes.
Yes, lots of us war workers use them.
Is that so?
The first time I ever wore one, I woke up at noon, thought it was midnight, leaped out of bed, ran into the wall, and knocked myself unconscious.
Who told you? Leave this one with me. You leave this here with me now, and I'll get you a new one this afternoon.
Oh, thanks very much. Good night.
Good night, dear.
Night, Alice.
Well, seems a little odd to be saying good night at 11 a.m. My goodness, we never know.
Excuse me, folks.
Yeah, Beulah?
There's 2 cops at the door. They won't see Mr. McGee.
Cops?
Policeman Beulah? Say, are you in trouble, McGee?
I can't think of any crimes I've committed lately. I took a paper off the newsstand last night without paying for it, but the kid knows I always pay later.
You say the word, Mr. McGee, and I'll unharness them bulls like I was a female Roy Rogers.
Now, wait a minute, the both of you. This might be serious.
What do you mean, serious? I haven't done anything. I don't think. They look friendly, Beulah?
No cop ever looked friendly to me, Mr. McGee. Even though I never bust a law in my whole life, every time I see a brass button, my spinal cord twang like an E-string.
Well, I suppose we better tell them to come in and face the music, whatever it is. Let them in, Beulah.
Yeah, but not too fast. Stall them a while, Beulah. Talk about the weather or something. You might hint that I got a lot of influence down at the city hall. If they behave, I'll have them promoted, see? Otherwise, they'll end up as mounted policemen with their heads over my mantelpiece.
Mounted policemen with their heads over I love that man. And leave it to me, sir. I'll stall him for 4
Billy Mills and the orchestra play I'll Get By.
the law is here. If you need me for anything, folks, I'll be in the kitchen cooking with the heavy skillet.
Well, is this a friendly visit, officers, or shall we call our lawyer, Perry Mason?
I'm Hogan, ma'am. This is Davinsky, headquarters detail.
Pleased to make your acquaintance, ma'am.
How do you do, I'm sure?
Well, now, this is all very cozy and polite, but before we start serving the sherbet and ladyfingers, why don't you guys break down and hand us the subpoena or whatever the bad news is?
Oh, well, Davinsky and I are selling tickets to the police week benefit, Mr. McGee. $5 a ticket. How many do you want?
How many, McGee?
Are you kidding? Do I look dumb enough to pay any part of a fin to see a bunch of tavern-tummied, muscle-bound, handcuffed rattlers shaking their fallen arches around a third-class ballroom? Bah! Not a chance, boys, not a chance.
Well, if it's for a benefit, McGee, we might take a couple.
No, sir, I wouldn't curry favor with a bunch of stoplight bandits for all the tea and tutti-frutti.
I'm sorry, boys.
And a gun in your pocket, McGee?
Gun? Oh, this? Yeah. Old Frontier model. Belonged to my Uncle Sycamore, old Indian fighter.
Got a license for it?
A license? Why, that revolver's over 100 years old.
So's marriage, but you still gotta have a license for it. Let's see it, McGee.
Okay, but it's just an antique. Just an old shooting iron that my Uncle Sycamore.
Serial number's been filed off, Hogan. That's bad.
What's bad about it on an old gun like that? Are you still working on the shooting of Dan McGrew?
Pipe down, lady.
Don't tell my wife to pipe down, you red-faced refugee from the boys in the back room. I got friends in the city hall that'll transfer you so far out into the sticks you'll have to report for carrier pigeon.
Yeah, we hear that every day, Flynn. Hey, there's something funny here, Davinsky. Take a look around.
Okay, Hogan. Keep an eye on them two. They look...
Take off your hat, Hogan.
Yes, ma'am. Now look here, McGee. About this gun.
You better load your blunderbuss, Sherlock. This might be flat top.
Well, whoever it is, we can send a message to the mayor. Come in.
No, there's good day, Mrs. McGee. Good day, McGee. Goodbye, officer.
Come back here, you.
Certainly, officer. I was merely going to perform a small favor for the fire department.
What was that, Mr. Wellington?
Move my car from in front of the fire plug. Fine body of men out fire, that is. Wouldn't want to cause them any trouble in case of a conflagration or even a fire.
These laddies will take care of the matter for you, Wellington, when they get through with the case they're now working on.
And what is that, McGee?
Who killed Cock Robin? They got 3 sparrows and a voodoo lined up as suspects. But their stool pigeon was too...
Be quiet, you. What's your name, mister?
Sigmund Wellington, manager of the Bijou Theater, my friend. And keep a civil tongue in your unpleasant face, or I shall have you on the carpet so fast, you'll think you're part Persian.
Well, good for you, Mr. Wellington. Just because you wouldn't buy any tickets to the police benefit, they think they can...
Quiet, lady, quiet.
Who's telling who to be quiet?
You mean who's telling whom, old man? In this instance, telling, you see, is used as a transitive verb and thus takes the object. Even in times of stress, leave us not forget our grammar.
Look, Wellington, can you vouch for these people?
And I will. And if I hear one more uncouth remark from you, my nightstick numbskull, I shall take great pains to see that you are transferred so far out in the country, it will take the National Geographic 12 years to discover you.
Yeah, I know. We've been through that. So you own the Bijou Theater, huh?
In fee. Simple.
What's that?
He says he owns it in fee simple. That's a legal term. But you wouldn't understand it if it's legal.
Why did you ask about the Bijou Theater and take off your hat, Hogan?
Yes, ma'am. I was asking about the Bijou, Wellington, because your marquee extends 2 feet beyond the legal limit over the sidewalk in violation of Ordinance 212, Section C, Paragraph 4, page 813 in the old book. Now, you still want to vouch for these people?
I never saw them before in my life. Good day, officer. Good day, strangers.
Why, that dirty little opportunist threw us to the wolves to save his own neck. Well, Hey, what's the charge against us anyway? You either got to hook us on some charge or release us. This isn't legal.
I'm holding you as material witnesses, and I may charge you with carrying concealed weapon.
Well, that's a laugh. Concealing that weapon would be like trying to hide a giraffe in a rumble seat. Quite simply ridiculous.
Hey, Hogan, you were right. This is a regular criminal hangout.
Yeah, what'd you get? What'd you get?
McGee, look, he's got my jewelry. Why of all
Be still, you. You'll have a chance to identify it.
Look, Hogan, jewelry, 2 wristwatches. One of them with the initials DD on it. Wasn't that stole from that minister last week? Don't DD mean Reverend?
That watch belongs to my wife's uncle, Dennis Driscoll, and the other one is mine. And if either of you light-fingered Lugan so
McGee,
much...
be quiet or I'll trap you with my strap. Go on, Divinsky.
Well, there's all this jewelry, see? And here's $30 in new $10 bills. Brand new $10 bills, Hogan. Like was lost when the First National was stuck up.
We got those bills at the bank yesterday to make an FHA payment.
Sure, lady, and these 3 skeleton keys that was on the desk there. I suppose those unlock the padlock on your diary.
We never claim to have a diary. We buy our milk from the Wistful Vista Creamery. What are you trying to do? You trying to...
What else, Divinsky?
Look what I found right here on the table, Hogan. A black man.
That's a sleep mask that belongs to our room.
Yeah, any stoop could see there's no eye holes in it. The only thing you can hold up with that mask is your eyebrows.
No eye holes don't mean anything, friend. Might be a clever dodge to keep the victims from seeing your eyes.
Oh, my
This
God.
is perfectly silly. Those keys are extra ones for our back door. The maid had them made yesterday.
Likely story.
This is really shaping up, Divinsky. Revolver with numbers filed off, fresh money, skeleton keys, black mask, odd jewelry.
Doggone it, you can't do this to us. I'll see that something...
Stand by, Divinsky. We'll see who this is.
We certainly will. Come in.
Hello, folks. I was just back. Oh, excuse me. Got company, I see.
Yeah, and they're about as welcome as fog at the airport.
We're police officers. What's your name?
Why?
Better tell them, Mr. Wilcox. They'd beat up their own mothers for a fig Newton.
Come on, buddy.
Here. Turn that light in his eyes, Hogan. That's it.
They're going to give you the 3rd degree, Junior. If you're the guy who put the lighted lantern under Mrs. O'Leary's cow, now's the time to get it off your chest. Or if you happen to know where Judge Crater...
Shut up, you. All right, what's your name?
Harlow Moffat Wilcox.
Moffat. Well, heavenly days, what the police don't find out.
Born?
No. What? They found me in a cabbage patch. They think the pixies brought me.
Well, that attitude won't get you nowhere, buddy. We can always take you downtown and work you over. Where was you born?
Omaha, Iowa.
Omaha's in Nebraska.
I know that, but I didn't think you would. Okay, Omaha, Nebraska.
What's your racket?
What's yours?
Oh, Hogan and me go around and... We're asking you, smart guy.
You better tell them, Mr. Wilcox, I don't like to look in their eyes. In fact, I don't like their eyes. In fact, I don't like them.
Move over. I hate them, too.
All right, Wilcox, what's your game?
Wax. Wax, eh? I get it. You use wax to make an impression on locks.
No. I use wax to make an impression on housewives.
Oh, confidence game, huh?
Well, sort of, yeah. They all have confidence in me.
Well, tell us about it, boy. We're your friends.
This is once I'm going to enjoy myself.
Me too.
Well, here's how I work. First, I taste the joint. Then I take my wax and go in. I use nothing but Johnson's wax, see?
Why? Make a better impression.
Makes a wonderful impression. When those housewives see how Johnson's wax saves them hours and hours of housework and protects and preserves so many things from dust and dampness, well, it makes an impression that lasts the rest of their lives. It's simply wonderful the way it makes a house gleam and sparkle with new beauty and cleanliness.
Gee, sounds great. Where can I go buy some?
Divinsky, snap out of it. Don't let him sell you anything. Snap out of it.
Where am I? What was that?
All right, you get out of here.
My God, Junior, 30 seconds more and you'd have had Divinsky setting up housekeeping in a pink paper.
In a bungalow. He's the bungalow type. Low roof.
Go on, Wilcox. Beat it.
When you get downtown, Junior, please tell the mayor that...
We'll tell the mayor. Get going, salesman.
Okay, but I'll come back.
Yes, and he will, too. He always has.
You could stop away too, you'll soon be able to concentrate in your own camp. In the meantime, what are you staring at, Hogan?
What's in that room there?
What room? Oh, there. That isn't a room, that's the hall closet.
Open it up, Divinsky.
No, gentlemen, you can't do that.
Looks like we stumbled onto something, Hogan.
What's in there?
Nothing.
Everything.
Well, which is it? Nothing or everything?
Well, it's both, Mr. Dubinsky. It's everything you can imagine, but nothing you'd want.
Never mind the double talk, lady. What's in that room?
It isn't a room, it's a closet. And I warn you, Bud, you open that door at the risk of your life.
Oh, trick, eh? Well, Hogan,
There's something in there they don't want us to see, Divinsky. Go ahead and open it.
We warned you.
Okay, you open it for us. You, McGee.
No. Shoot me if you want to, but don't ask me to open that door, please. Anything but that. No, not that.
The
King's Men sing Old Dan Tucker.